You're live. Y'all ain't live. Push to live. Oh my god. No, because it shows me this thing, and then I did it yesterday with my niece. I am so freaking tired. You have no idea. Um, you have no idea.
Okay, hi everybody.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All that awkwardness. I've never been on YouTube before. Well, I have been on YouTube, but I've never been like at the start of a show before. And Big B's pretty new to live stream, so I think we just totally missed this one.
Well, no, Twitch is
How is
way.
everybody tonight?
Yeah, well, Twitch is way easier. You just press the button. Just press YouTube, you have to press two buttons. So two buttons is a harder of a struggle. Hmm. Let me see. There's no pictures, so what do I want to have up? You have been on YouTube. It's
Yeah,
true. Okay. So we're kind of just sitting around waiting for 2 minutes just to get people in, and then we will go. But let's see. Do we get a cool picture for you?
we're giving it about 2 minutes, and we'll go ahead and get started.
So, do you have a good day?
Truth be told, not really.
Not really? Oh, shoot.
I work for a retail company, a big, very large box store that's all across the United States,
Uh-huh.
and I do tech support for them, and our tech sucks.
Tech
Just
support.
put it,
That's,
yeah.
honestly, that's every company. I don't mean it that way. It's just,
No, we use a special level of cheap equipment.
oh, no, we got you beat. We got you beat. And that's what I mean, that it feels like every company that you just, every town is the most boring town in the world. Well, not mostly. I think the majority of people growing up would say that is true, but
I
eh,
see your comment, Lunchbox, but I'm probably not allowed to fangirl about Leela right now. I'm supposed to be mature and talk about, and actual Weiss stuff and community stuff, not, fangirl stuff.
what's that?
Oh, Lunchbox was commenting in the YouTube that Leela is trending on Twitter.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
They're
Um,
the newest rendition of Love Live.
oh, I'm too old. I'm sorry. Oh, Love Live.
Ooh,
I'm still not there with it. Oh shoot.
we got a fish tank.
Bam, there you go. Yeah, that's Bob. He died. He was my beta fish.
Aww.
No, but it was cool because my sister owned him and she didn't want him anymore, so I took him and then I found out you could put this leaf here and he'll lay on it. He
Yep.
tried his best to lay on it because I didn't have the water level like to the best of my ability, like where he could just lay across of it. So in that picture he was kind of lopsided, but he was good. It's a cool fish. All
All
right,
right.
we
Well, we're
are.
at 10 people. Should we get going?
Yep. So thanks for joining me today. I have your picture here. Let's have something up on the screen. But really, I want to thank you for reaching out and wanting to come on the show. As everybody can see, we're going to be talking about players, collectors. I can't see the rest of the title. Investors, LGS, flippers, the whole thing. Like we're going full blown, talk about stuff that is kind of controversial in a way, like just address some of the issues going on with the community. And before I begin, before we get into the whole, um, before we can go into meeting Audri, I do want to say this. I want to make sure that everybody understands what I'm about to say. Like these topics can be very controversial, which means people's emotions and all that kind of get in the way. And it's okay to feel a certain way. I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but what I do want to say is everybody here in comments should be respectful. Like you could say you disagree with this and say your point, but if you're just going to name call or something like that, we'll probably just give you a warning, and then if you go further than that, I'm gonna just remove you completely. And again, we're not here to stifle any kind of conversation. Just do it in a respectful way, and we're cool with that. Like it's just one of those ones where just be good to each other, and we can have a nice little chat, right? Have some fun. So with that said, I want to go on here and um, anyways, Audri, feel free. Audri has been a friend to me, like has kept me in check. We may not agree on a whole lot of, well, not a whole lot. I mean, we may not agree on a bunch of issues, but we've always done it in a respectful way. So I'm glad to have you on here. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name's Audrey. I've been a TCG player since 1998. A tournament organizer for over 20 different TCGs. The last 9 years have been all Weiss Schwarz. I'm the founder of the Ileana Weiss Schwarz gang out of Indianapolis, with several other satellite stores around Indiana and Illinois. As a player, I used to be good. I'm not so good anymore compared to everybody else. The youngins have sprung up and have been teaching me the old fart how to play better. You probably see me posting all over Global and stuff like that over the years with lots of Love Live stuff. I think that's about it. As far as the comments go, just to comment on what you had said earlier, I actually requested that Mr. B make this a live, so that way I can see your comments and interact with them like real time. I'd much rather say, I think I communicate better speaking than I do typing. If you guys have read some of the comments I've left on Big B's YouTube videos in the past, they are probably pretty painful to read. So I really wanted to open this up for everybody in the community to talk it out, get things out of our systems, maybe learn from everybody else, and, who knows, maybe I'm dead wrong on a lot of things and need to be straightened out as well. That wouldn't be the first time. So, again, please be respectful, but definitely say what's on your mind. And, even if you're want to say I'm dead wrong and totally out of my freaking mind, you might actually be right.
It's okay. I mean, like it's we all can be wrong, and it's as long as we do it and tell each other in a nice way, respectful way that you're wrong, then that's cool with me. That's what it's all about. So, anyways, we're gonna start out here with, just so we're all on the same page. I was gonna ask for your definition of player, but I feel like I know what that is. So, in terms of everything going on, what is a collector to you? What is an investor?
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start with player. I think a player is pretty much a person who plays Weiss Schwarz. I don't care if you play weekly like I do, a couple times a week like some of the stores players in California get to do, or once a month. I'm not going to judge, but I think if you pick up the cards, you shuffle them, you play a game, you get climax screwed once in a while, or you do that to your opponent, you've probably played the game and you're a player.
Yeah.
A collector, I would say, is a person who goes, oh my god, these are my waifu, I want these cards. They probably are never having an interest in playing the game, but that Kiki RRR out of Love Live Superstar is just too irresistible, and they need to have it on their shelf. An investor, I think, probably goes into either yourself, actually I don't know if I'd call you an investor. I'd call you a collector because you don't intend on selling. An investor would be a person who's holding cards for long term. I would compare that person, like Rudy from Alpha Investments. He's hoarding all that stuff in his garage to retire on, practically. I think an investor also could be a quick flip investor or a reseller. So they're buying product, selling it a year later when all the RRs are off TCG player, and want to make their money.
Right. I think I put myself in the player collector thing. So I've been actually playing myself, as sad as it sounds, on Weiss Fight against myself. So it's just you can do that, right? You just open you can open up two different browsers, like Internet Explorer and Firefox, and play yourself. It's kind of neat because then you can have like certain board setups and see how strategically you can actually beat those. If you ever remember like Inquest, they would have that for Magic where,
Yep.
yeah, where they would have, here's a board setup, here are your cards. Can you beat this in like 3 moves or whatever? So I've been actually
I always
playing around.
failed those.
Yeah, see?
Um, you say booyah? I assume that's a reference to Cyborg on Teen Titans. As far as multiple categories, I think 99.9% of the community falls into those categories. Falls into multiple categories.
Yeah, and I agree with that. So definitely not investor side for me. I mean, I do have certain things, but it's more collecting because again, life goals. Don't really want to sell any of this stuff. I kind of just want to open it later in life because I feel like I'm going to be bored later in life, but that's a good thing.
I would say I'm 90% player, or I'm sorry, 80% player, 20% waifu collector.
Nice. And it's good you got support. I'm glad my wife signed off on that as of last video. What would you call people with all of the above? Yeah, I
Really,
mean,
really into the game.
yeah, you really like it. And it could be there are people that could do that. I guess the negative connotation really comes like what is the problem lately that you've been seeing, Audrey? Like why did you come to me to have this live discussion?
Well, to be honest, I think there's a lot of misunderstandings on the different perspectives people have coming into Weiss Schwarz. It's definitely a great game for collecting. I can totally see why people are investing. But there's also, the people who have their first priority on playing. And particularly in our Facebook communities, those different goals, motivations are causing an obscene amount of division in the community.
Yeah.
What made my final decision to come on is you had a previous guest, and you had, after that previous guest, you had mentioned having people on, so I was like, you know what, I think I made a 2-page essay in your comment section, just commenting on what that guest was saying.
I always appreciate those really long paragraphs.
So I felt, if I'm gonna blow up the comment section, least I could do is come on and comment.
I'm glad you did.
And most of my comment in that comment section, I think, was misunderstanding what was saying to me, and misunderstanding how other people with other aspirations feel.
Right. Okay. Well, and with that, that's how we're here. So we have a couple topics, and the first one is SPs, anything above double rare. Like, why was it such a huge issue that those were being bought out? When this all first started, I remember, like the more special cards were being bought out. I know double rares are always an issue, but you had SPs, you had SRs, you had triple rares all disappearing.
Normally, in most of the card games I've played in the past, I wouldn't care. So I'm gonna maybe speak how I feel on this one. I might not be speaking, I definitely don't. Through this discussion tonight, I'm gonna kind of relate back to what I think. I don't think I'm nearly big enough in the community to speak for everybody.
Oh yeah, no.
Everybody has their own motivations. Everybody has their thoughts. So I'm gonna kind of come at this speaking about how I feel and how I think. As far as everything being bought up, with the higher rarity cards, what I think initially starts the issue is Weiss players have been doing their thing for English Weiss players. Let me narrow this down a little bit. English Weiss players have been doing their thing for about 8 years before all this started. Different with its own set of priorities and goals. Magic, a lot of times, or Pokemon, the goal is to get really pretty cards, show them off that you got them, and tuck them away like a troll hiding his treasures, or a dragon.
Right.
Weiss is very big on the flexing that you have those cards through playing with those cards. And they do that through max raritying their decks. Even myself, I have a max rarity. I was able to put together a max rarity deck in JP. It's kind of the goal of every Weiss player to have a max rarity deck reflecting their favorite series or their waifu. Mine's a waifu deck for Ruby Kurosawa. Shout out to Andy Colley if he's here for helping me get that put together. With the cards being coming in bought, I think it was a real shock to the community that these cards weren't going to, let's use the Amelia 1-0 from Re-01, for example. It wasn't going from, the cards weren't going to that super mega Amelia fan with more with more money than they got brains.
Right.
It was to put in his max rarity deck, or hers, so they could flex it all over locals and the latest WGP festival. It was that those cards were disappearing off the market and being hoarded and put away to where they couldn't be appreciated by the player base and the community. It also caused because the sudden rush on these cards, Weiss Schwarz is print to demand, and they are extremely, extremely retentive about that. They only print, I think I've heard 2% above orders. It might be as high as 10%, but I'm pretty sure I've heard 2%. So Weiss Schwarz wasn't, let's use that Re-Zero example again. It wasn't nearly as big back then. I mean, it was, but the game's grown, probably doubled in size since Re-Zero-1 has hit. So there aren't many of those Amelias to go around. And those Amelias were already pretty freaking expensive as it was. So I know a guy, and he is in my locals, and he's been trying to build Re-Zero max rarity, the entire collection in JP. He had a chance of doing it until this year.
Right.
And it's now so far out of range for him financially, he just can't do it. He can't he's never going to be able to finish it because he can't justify spending the money on the wedding gown rims out of the trial decks. And that's on the JP side where they're even cheaper. And this is a man who has over 50 Amelia figures. And, and we're going, oh, man, David can't finish this out. Oh, I shouldn't be name dropping. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be saying people's names on YouTube. But it's like, dang. And, I mean, I'm sensible enough to go, maybe those collectors are fans too. Or, it's America, capitalism, woohoo. But it was just the shock of the whole situation. And there was, because of the massive buy-up on the market, price spikes incredibly high on anything let's say, 7 Deadly Sins. Before that, there was such a shortage in the market from the massive rush in that now I'm going to use myself as an example. I can't play. I'm having a hard time with my English Shop League because I'm having to convert from Japanese to English because of the mandatory English rule. And
Yep.
I've never ran a group that was all English before, but my newest store asked me to do so. So I'm having to go back and build decks because I'm terrible. I can't stand playing the same deck week to week. I can't do it. It drives me crazy. So I'm having a problem getting a hold of the older cards myself, and I'm just talking low rarity. So what if I actually wanted to pursue the high rarity decks? There's no chance.
Yeah.
So I think that it wasn't. I don't think anybody in the Weiss community, and I know there have been a lot of people in the Weiss community who responded very poorly to this, and I will say it flat out right now. I don't endorse any of that bad behavior, and I think they were being ignorant as heck. But at the same point, I want to go ahead and say that the older members of the community were like, what the heck hit us? It was like the meteor came and hit the ground and just started trying to extinct all of those old dinosaurs. And the dinosaurs went roar because that's what they can do.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that he's not able to finish the deck. I know there are definitely fans out there that came in not knowing about Weiss and bought up a bunch of stuff because they were fans. I know there was definitely people that came in here to make money, which was always going to be a case. Like I showed, so not many people have seen this, but I did show Audri a long, long time ago. The video is deleted, but there was an Excel sheet that I showed you that had a tracking of all the different sets, the booster boxes, trial decks, the whole deal. And I was waiting for that day when I noticed when people were sort of taking action. So this whole time, like, again, why I wasn't making any videos or stuff like that, I was actually tracking all these prices, was to wait for this wave of people to come in because I knew it was going to happen one day. And my whole goal for this, because I actually do like Weiss, is to educate people, hopefully not get them scams, but also try to, tell as many people as possible this is about to happen, so get your cards now. Because there was definitely a time, I don't know if you remember, Audrey, where I had a video where I talked about the Magia Record mobile set that came out, and I said, this Felicia is $50 SP. If you want it, you might want to get it. And there was like three or four of them just sitting there, and I could have just bought them all and just said screw it to everybody because I think they're like $150 now, something like that. But I was like, if you want this card, get it. I mean, I like Magia Record, but at the same time, there's other people out there that do. So what I'm trying to say really is there are fans out there that are going to buy it. There are people out there that could have just used that information to get it and resell it for more money. But this was always going to happen this way. Even though the player base wanted to play with these cards, there were going to just be some people that treat this things like figures, where they shove it into a glass cabinet, whatever you have. I don't have that thing. I don't have the space for any of that. But you're going to put it into a place and display it and just put it away forever because people do different things with different items, right? And I feel like it's unfortunate, but I always go back to this where Magic the Gathering had this at some point where there was really rare cards that were really inexpensive and they were bought up. And I would imagine if we could time travel back to that time, people were probably saying the same thing, like, what the heck? Why these cards all get bought up? Fetch lands, dual lands, Lotuses, Power 9, the whole deal. Same thing with Pokemon. Like, it was probably the same thing where people were like buying Charizards. They thought their Charizard was worth $10 and now it's worth like 500, 1,000, something like that. So I think that's the hard part. And the worst part is just the fact that Weiss doesn't have as many supply out there. I mean, you actually, for a time period anyways, had playable lower rarity cards. But like you said, it goes away. You could even see it with like the last market update I did. The reason why I did that last update, I don't know if you saw that, was the fact that even though there may be massive supply, eventually it runs out. We all know this as people that either play Weiss or watch the trends. It's basically these things will eventually disappear, and when they do, they're gone, and the prices will go up. It was never a thing where, for me anyways, that I expect cards that were printed 5 years ago to still be available. And even though it's unfortunate, and I do actually feel bad, like if you're working for a goal and it's not attainable anymore, um, I think that's okay in life. Like as in, it's the one that got away. It's that always happens to everybody, but that's what keeps life enjoyable. I don't know if you watch Squid Games. Remember what they said about like rich people?
No, I actually have never watched it.
Oh shoot, so don't worry about that. Well, that doesn't give anything away. You will learn nothing about the rich people part. But no, I mean, it's like, but again, like when you think about it, if you have infinite money, right? And you could buy everything. It doesn't mean as much to you. Yeah, it's the same thing when people say they pull the card out of their box themselves. It means more to them than just buying it. And I feel like even though it sucks not to be able to have that card in your head, at the very least, it gives you some kind of goal in the future. And that's why people, nostalgia wise, go back to these cards. Like, go back, when they do have money and like try to buy it many, many years later for a higher price. But it's just something that keeps you going in life. I don't think um, everybody should have everything that they want. It doesn't make for a great kind of life if you just have everything. Like you could buy everything that you want. Not to say being
Oh,
poor
most
is good either.
no, I totally agree on that one. I mean, you can't just getting handouts makes everything invaluable or not valuable to you anyway.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. I feel bad for the people that can't have the cards they want. Heck, I want Haruhi set, but it's freaking expensive. I'm not gonna do that. You have to, and that's my whole thing where I say about budgets. Like you can't just. It sucks because me myself, I don't have the cards that I want. Like I track all this stuff, but I didn't go out there and just buy up everything in the world because it's not fun. You have to live to a certain budget, and it's one of those ones where I think people just need to get to accepting that, you know what, there was time where I could have got it for whatever reason I couldn't. Again, it's money, and I'm not dissing that you didn't have the money at the time to get it or you had other things come up, but it happens, and you just got to be willing to let it go because there's a ton of things that passes by. How many people out here invest in stocks or say that I could have bought Apple, I could have bought Dogecoin, I could have bought that Amelia, or I could have, yeah, it's just, it goes on and on. And I think it's one of those ones where just be okay letting things go. It's
Well, if you want a real cringe one, I probably have you beat
what,
on things that you've missed that you didn't buy.
uh-huh,
I have t- I've lived for a long time, and when I was little, I am a bit of a sports fan, and um, McDonald's had a promotion for basketball cards, and I pulled a Shaquille O'Neal card, which
oh
was
shoot,
that was his rookie season. I mean, everybody was all over Shaq, and I was at a church event, and Magic the Gathering had just hit in the local area in Baltimore, and I saw this really pretty card with a flower. And the guy offered it to me if I'd give him my Shaq card, and I told him where to stick it.
did you look up how much it's worth now?
I don't want to.
I have no,
It was an unlimited, because I still remember clearly as day holding it, deciding if I wanted it.
yeah, no, I have a Shaq rookie card. It's not worth all that much. So I was just trying to tell you they're not all worth all that much.
Yeah,
It's
no, I
not.
mean, it's a deal I probably should have took. And then also, a few years later, well, much later, um, I was a tournament organizer for Upper Deck Incorporated, and they had just gotten the license for Yu-Gi-Oh, and they sent me a box with about 150 starter decks for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Dang.
I looked over the rules, and I'm pretty hot-headed and very opinionated. and said, "There's no freaking way I'm playing this game or teaching it." Took the entire box and dumped them in the trash.
Are you what?
3 weeks later, they were $50 a piece.
Wait, did you literally just dump them in the trash?
Yes, I did.
Holy crap! You didn't try to hand them out or nothing. All right.
And
Well.
these were stamped not for resale demo decks.
Mm. Well, I'm glad you follow the rules. I don't know if that is. Yeah, I don't know if I would have done that.
I can be really hard-headed and was a lot worse in my teenage years and 20s.
We all.
Maturity's helped my life a lot.
Yeah, we all have to get there.
But to go kind of back on point, I mean, I do think that working towards cards and being able to get them is a really good thing. But I also think at the same point they need to be accessible for people who have worked really hard. For example, have you seen any SSPs for Bang Dream on TCG Player or Facebook lately?
I haven't. Well, I avoided Facebook for a while now, but a TCG player, I haven't seen much. I haven't seen really any. I have seen SPs. There's a Saya out there, Saya scrunchie that I want to get. It's like $40, 50.
That's a cute card.
No, I love that. I like any of that. I shouldn't say it out loud because then someone's just gonna buy it. But I like anything with like the hair ties or scrunchies. So I'm buying them. But no, I
If you look
haven't.
at most of my anime harem through the years, it's side tails of some sort.
I like those too. But yeah, so is there a ton of them out there? Are you saying they're just all gone?
Nobody. I mean, if somebody saved the money to get one, I don't know where they're going to get one. They're gone.
Yeah. No, I don't know, and that's what I mean. It's like, but isn't that how it was always supposed to be in the end? Like, not to say that it doesn't stink not to be able to get it, but again, there are people out there that stopped playing Weiss and they just threw it in a cabinet, or it was played so much it's been up that it's kind of just gone. It's lost, gets torn up, ripped up. That something that old, do you really expect it to just be around, right? Like,
But you got to remember, we're dealing with Girls Band Party that was 2018. Am I right on that, chat? I mean, that's only 3 years ago. And this isn't an STR from Review Starlight.
yeah, but like when you think about like because no one really knows what's the population of an SSP, like from like how many do you think really exist?
The Yukina SSP, last I've heard from my unofficial count, I've heard of like 18 of them in the world. So I'm guessing, or 18 English ones. I'm guessing about 25.
Well, that's what I mean. So, 25 out there. There's definitely people that bought them and will never sell them. Because
most certainly.
yeah, so that's what I mean. Like 25 is not a huge number to be put up. And if they end up in a collector's hand or someone that wants max rarity, I know there's someone on Facebook that collects a lot of SPs before any of this, right? Like they were in Weiss for a long time and has a lot of SPs. Are they really gonna sell it? So that's what I mean. Like you could subtract 4 off that right now, and then go from there. Like it's just there really wasn't much.
There was 30 girls though. There was 30 different SSPs, and I'm just saying, any of them. Now, I can't talk. I'm hoarding an SSP that will never, ever, 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 ever be freaking sold. I would turn down a $10,000 offer on it right this second and laugh at the person for asking me. But I can't imagine that lesser popular characters like, honestly, Kasumi Toyama from Poppypaw or Akko from Rosalia. Where are those at? They don't have the Super Rabbit fan base.
I don't know. That's a real question because again, you could say that with Maji a record, right? With their serial numbers. Either they weren't open or people just don't want to sell it. but we don't see all of the SPs. They don't just show up, right? And it goes throughout the whole world. So maybe we're looking in the wrong place. Like maybe they're on Card Market or wherever they're at.
Actually, I heard there was a Facebook. I didn't get to see it today because I was working and actually doing work. There was a post on Facebook where a guy realized that there's a really good shot a lot of the SAO serial number cards will not be in circulation because they're possibly in Rudy's garage.
That's I don't know. I don't believe that either. I don't believe that either.
Well, I'm saying Rudy's garage, but I mean,
Oh yeah,
all we
yeah,
know
no,
is that
no. I get the whole idea, but the way I get the joke to it, but at the same time, Rudy only gets so much, like from his videos, and at the same time, the way we know how this all spreads out, if you look at like all the different SP serial numbers that have appeared, they're all in different regions. You know, like you have Canada, they're not all clumped up in, let's say, Florida, where that would be. Like it I don't know how they do it, but I feel like there is some kind of method to how these boxes are spread to different distributors, like these actual serial numbers. If there was a clumping, we would see it. Like I thought there was a clumping with the actual number itself. Like all the fives went to a certain area because that's what it looked like to me. Like when you start mapping it out, it felt like all the numbers were in a certain area, but it was spread up out enough that there's no way that there's a certain amount in like his possession.
well, I apologize. I'm also referring to all the sealed collectors. So, I mean, I'm sure at this point Weiss has several thousand sealed collectors.
Really?
Just,
I don't.
just an off the cuff guess.
I feel like that number is going to drop very soon. So it's that's what I've been waiting for. Like my whole thing about what's been happening is all happening the way I thought it would be. Where, you had this huge surge, you had all these sellers come in, and there are these pre-orders. So, they have to pre-order 3-4 months ahead, with people getting stuck with, let's say, Seven Deadly Sins, Heaven's Feel. Like you are going to have people that are going to cut back on their actual purchasing. It won't happen. It's going to be a delayed effect because of that. But once we start, you'll start noticing it when we get in, I think, in about 2 months from now. Which it would be a lot better if Hollow Live wasn't coming out to see that, but I don't know what's going to happen when Hollow Live comes back, if people are just going to just go nuts again. But because of what's been happening the past few months, the pre-orders should be cutting back soon. Not yet, but we have to wait that out. Just because, again, how early you have to put those pre-orders in, that these people that are buying this, they can't. Well, I guess you could just not pay, right? You could not pay a distributor, is what I've heard before, and then you don't have to take it.
I've heard of a collector that bought 30 cases of salvage for himself. This current set coming out Friday.
Wait, what? Say again?
So, I have heard through the grapevine about a collector who has bought 30 cases of the newest Sal set, SAL.
30 cases?
30 cases for one person.
Well, more power to them. I guess they really want that serial number. You said collector, right? Or is this investor?
Yes.
Collector.
He wanted
okay.
to make sure. He wanted to make sure that he got enough serial numbers and Asuna foils.
Wait,
I wish I had 30 grand to drop on waifu foils.
Yeah, what does that equal out to be? That's whatever. It doesn't matter. That's a crap load. I don't know. What are they gonna do with all that? I mean, you heard through the grapevine, but is he just gonna open? Like, what do you do? Burn the cards? So, like, just because attempting to sell play sets of that is going to be a nightmare with how playset prices are, or just even the demand of it. Does your stores sell playsets?
None of my local stores do.
Okay.
That's, to be honest, I keep my stores very conservative. I understand that most Weiss players buy from backpack sellers or the major companies that we have in our community. So I tell my local game stores to buy a half case at most, and I
Yeah.
cringe as they buy a half case because I want to make sure that they're not having it sit on their shelves and getting mad at us.
So do they don't sell on TCG Player, do they?
Um, One of the stores has an eBay store, and he's slowly trickling them out. Actually, they told me yesterday they finally got through all their seven deadly sins. I am so freaking relieved.
No, because I mean that was one of the things I wanted to tell you the one day because if you look up quintessential quintuplets right now on
Okay.
on TCG Player,
Mhm.
people actually bought the quintessential set at like 211, and they're buying the booster boxes even for SAO. If you look, they bought it in the 70s, 70 like 78 now 73 or something. So it's one of those ways you don't make a ton of money, but you guarantee that you sell it. So just another option for your stores, as in. I don't know why people buy it on TCG Player. You know, I've said it on a video before. I'm like, I don't know if any of the people watching buy booster boxes before release on TCG Player, but that's a horrible, horrible thing to do. That you should not be doing anything like that. But it's an option. Like real stores can put it up for pre-order, which you're at real stores. I mean, real stores sells playsets, right? I mean, there's plenty of real.
Um, Very, 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 very few.
Maybe
And
I
it's
didn't.
mainly the ones that have the online presence through Facebook and stuff like that already.
Yeah, yeah, but there's actual stores. But yeah, no, you need an online presence, and that's what I mean when you gave me that link for one of the ones you um, associate with. I'm trying not to say any name or anything like that,
Right.
but you know, when I looked at their website, I'm like, oh, geez, it's really. It took a while to even find that because you gave me the link and I clicked on it, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just try to actually find that specific store on the internet just by typing Weiss Schwarz, booster boxes, whatever. So it's like the internet presence, I think, is lacking on some of these actual physical LGSs. Do you want to just talk about that now? I know we had LGSs here. We're already here.
Oh, we've already addressed it. We've been like going around in circles about all the LGS stuff I wanted to talk about. So yeah, we can go there.
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading a comment. Remember when Big B said the pre-order? You'll have to remind me of all that. But yeah, we could talk about LGSs. So for me, my side about the LGSs, even though I talk about TCG Player, I have been throwing out hints or even videos to LGSs on what they need to change. I mean, there was a time where I was trying to help the LGS, and I was met with what would I say? Resistance to it. Remember, I was talking about mapping and flesh and
Oh,
blood.
I. Mhm.
Yeah, it's because you know, again, my true thing here is try to help the LGS. I'm like, look, you're pricing things incorrectly. You don't have an online presence. You're getting screwed over by Weiss itself for not actually having some sort of minimum that they sell, that distributors are able to sell to people that don't actually have stores. You know, like all of this stuff. So there's many things that need to change and for them to actually do better. You know, actually have some sort of uh, bigger tournament or just shop leagues. Yeah, because again, there are some stores that actually do sell Weiss, but that actually don't do anything with it. And again, it's not all on the store. It's definitely Bushy Road too, not helping with that. But you're at a point where you can see some of these people with stores on Facebook that are now catching on that it's like by the again, I'm not going to say the dude's name, but you know, he was resisting changing prices for so long, but now recent posts have been uh, a lower case price, a lower playset price, the whole deal. It's one of those ones where it took a little while to get there, but and I would hope that the attitude kind of changes from that store as well, because that's not doing you any favors. I've had plenty of people say that, you know, like the way he presented or how he talks on Facebook is definitely one of those ones that you would never purchase from because of the way he conducts himself. Myself included. I wouldn't buy from someone that like borderline harasses people for selling lower cases and lower booster boxes. So that's my piece. What are you gonna say about LGSs?
All right. Whew. Where
Yep.
do I start?
Go ahead.
I I think one thing that has really really hurt Weiss, and it hurts every aspect of the community, is Bushyroad's handling of LGS and distribution. Now, player Audri, who's got to go buy a play set of a set, it does help me to have backpack sellers around getting their stuff from a certain distributor and undercutting everybody so she can get a cheap price. But I think the damage has been absolutely catastrophic to the community, and I'm including everyone. Weiss isn't a game worth carrying for an LGS at all. It has one of the lowest profit margins of any CCG. It has constant competition from all around. I mean, yeah, Magic, you expect constant competition, but Magic has 18 million players to sell to.
Right.
Somebody's going to need that somebody's going to need those dual lands that you've got in your case, or somebody's going to need that foil mana crypt that you got out of double masters. But Weiss, we have an extremely small player community, and so the competition to get that money to get money from those players is extremely hard for a store. I'll flat out say it. One of my the main store that I run events at, pretty much has us there as a favor because we've been with him since the doors opened. He is not making money off of us outside of our tournament entries, and the profit margin is so low on the booster boxes that it isn't worth his time to put them on the shelf, and it isn't worth the players' time to buy them from them because they're so overpriced compared to what a backpack seller can sell a box for, or even a TCG player online store that doesn't have to pay for a storefront with table space. This has gotten even worse now because of the massive pressure on prices going down with the big rush in sales in the last year. Bushyroad's making hand over fist, so they don't care. I mean, they're probably breaking record numbers for their Weiss sales. But your local LGS is dealing with issues where players just, it's stupid from them to buy from them. Last night, or Monday night, I had a real close friend of mine go into the store, and my community's really good about, we'll buy a pack here and there to support the store. He bought a pack of Slime 2, opened it up, and hit the level 3 yellow Rimuru that bounces back and does obscene amounts of damage, and I could go on a rant on that card as a player. I absolutely freaking hate that card. So, overall, you would think that he succeeded on opening that pack. That he would at least break even and plus. He looked it up on TCG Player. It was 60 cents for one of the top scariest cards in the game. I would easily put it on top 10 scariest freaking cards in the game, and it's 60 cents on TCG Player. How can myself as a tournament organizer or the shop that I attend ask players to buy packs if they're going to neg 80% with one of the top cards in the set?
Oh, I know.
And this is, that I think right there, I will admit, you're totally right that the shop owners have been yelling re, and some of them have not been very pleasant on Facebook. But this is what they're looking at. And again, it's not the people buying the cases to crack them for signs and dumping the rest on TCG Player, which I'm pretty sure is what's going on. It's not their fault. I would actually go as far as to say 75% of this game's freaking issues are with Bushiroad being completely moronic. And that hasn't changed since 2012, as far as I know. Bushiroad Japan handled things, a lot of things moronically. Bushiroad USA takes it to an entire freaking new level of incompetence and stupidity. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little angry, but this is something that really ticks me off as a tournament organizer. Because my job is middle management. I need to make my shop owner happy, make my shop owner money, as well as make my players happy. And 60-cent cards, I mean, yeah, I guess it could make the players real happy, but it certainly doesn't make the shop owner happy, who without that shop owner supporting the game, we're playing online, and I don't know about you guys, but I hate it. Chat can blow me up for that. People can hit
awful.
legs, but I absolutely freaking hate online play.
No, I'll go with you. It's awful.
I will not back off on that.
No, I'm not trying to segue what you just said. Did you check out someone made a video about something called like Blake.io or something? Did you see that? It's not Weiss Fight, it's a different one. It actually looks really cool.
You see I'm not familiar at all.
Yeah, someone called Mrs. Check it. It was like last week. Anyways, going back to you. Sorry. Check that out. It's really cool. It's automated. No, like when you draw a card or take damage, or like the cards actually move themselves. It's not like Weiss Fight or anything like that. It actually automates stuff. It asks you if you want a clock and all this other stuff. It's like amazing. I was like, how did people not know about this? So, anyways, going back, LGS. No, I'm with you there. Like, and that's part of the problem. Like when I took a look at all this. And that's why I did that video, like a message to shop owners. Like you're going to have to go through a lot of pain for the next couple of months, to maybe 6 months, 7 months, something like that. But I knew all along if they could survive all of this, like just bear with it, because it's going to go away eventually. All these sellers coming in and this is not going to last forever. And that's what I've been waiting for. But we just had some kind of bigger sets that people thought they wanted, like SAO, even though no sign cards, their serial number, but SAO in general people like, so people are just going to buy into that, as in like 30, that guy buying a huge amount of cases, right? So it's just one of those ones where if a shop wants to keep doing this, it's not going to be profitable. I don't see how you do it unless you build that online presence, and at the same time, is it worth the effort to do all that? Like you have to be a shop owner that really likes Weiss, or your community, like your local community, is awesome for you to keep doing it. I don't know how any LGS can actually just sit there and say, you know what, this is probably the best move, unless they're looking long term. I think in the long term they'll be fine, because people will drop out. And the people coming in, even though some of them are collectors, some of them are investors, some of them will convert over to actual players, or at least giving it a shot. Because again, you have cards when you open them. It only makes sense that when you open these cards, you're staring at them and you like them, but at the same time, since it's an actual game, they do try to do it. And again, I've told you this before, but since I haven't told people, I'm in a group that invest in cards, talks about cards, play cards, right? The whole deal. And when they got to Weiss, when we started talking about Weiss, I was telling them about everything that I know about Weiss, and not from an investment standpoint, more just because I was like, hey, do you ever hear of Weiss? I started looking at it. This is a nice thing to play. It's got anime, and if you want to invest, there you go. The majority of them didn't look to invest in this thing at all. What they started doing was they're like, oh, I like this anime, holy crap. And then what they started doing was just buying 1 or 2 boxes. And as they were doing that, they're like, okay, let me get a trial deck. Let me actually play this. So it's not, when this all goes to the end, as in like this whole investor collector boom all dies down, you will be still left with people that still want to play this game or buy some boxes. So the LGSs that actually do tough it out in this hard time, try to make an online presence, actually have a place that's nice to play, that actually is pleasant to deal with, I think they will be okay in the end. And I know there's some like online stores out there that have been doing some, let's say, heavy promotion and more businesses coming their way. And I think that's unfortunately, an LGS has to step it up if they want to survive in Weiss. I think you just got to go a little bit further. And I know that like if I was an LGS, I probably wouldn't do it. Let me just put that out there. It's too much work. I got other things to do. There's a lot of other profitable games.
Let me address something that Peace Corps Dennis said in the chat, because
Okay.
it kind of addresses you as well. He makes a comment. Now, makes sense why my LGS doesn't carry Weiss and only does other TCG games. Well, I mean, you have also listed a ton of different things that you think stores need to do to make sure that they survive the mess that is the Weiss economy right now.
Yep.
But shop owners are people too, and they work the same way as regular people like you and I. Why do all that extra work and bend over backwards for a community when you could just throw magic cards on the shelf and people all buy them like they're laced with crack cocaine?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Or you can put Pokemon cards on the shelf, and that's like straight heroin injections. The shop owner just throws Pokemon on the shelf, and it goes away.
Yeah. No, I
You might
wouldn't.
have to. I mean, I have one LGS that carries Pokemon and actually runs events for it. He has to put up with kids for 3 hours a day, or
Right.
for 3 hours a week, and he moves tons and tons and tons of boxes of Pokemon. So why go above and beyond to court the Weiss community when you could just throw Pokemon on the shelf and spend the money that you have in your cash drawer on Pokemon, and just get it ushered right out of the store?
I think you can answer that yourself. I don't mean that in a negative way because I said like truthfully, logically, you wouldn't do it. The only reason you would do it is if you just like Weiss or your community asked for it, right? Because anybody at this point could just say, with all those things that we all know, we don't want to do it. Like, why does that store still, like your store, still have half a case? Right? It's one of those ones where for whatever reason they still do it. So it's one of those ones for me. It's like you gotta make the decision. You're either in or you're out. Not in a mean way, but you're either in or you're out. We know that this thing's not profitable. I literally said if I was an LGS, I wouldn't do it because with all that effort that you have to put in for the little bit of gain that you have, what's the real point? Unless you really love it, because there is a store on Facebook that talks about like not holding this stuff, but it seems like they're kind of starting to get more supplies, cases, and all that stuff again. So knowing all that, why do stores continue to keep it? And I think
let me go ahead and address TCG.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as why it hasn't, I was around as a tournament organizer for 90s Pokemon. It flew off the shelf then, just like it is now. Even almost as rapidly. Magic has always been, you put it on the shelf, people will buy it. Maybe not Fallen Empires, but pretty much the other set. So they have a larger fan base, or a player base. They have large promotions. They have just a larger market to sell to. And frankly, maybe Magic in 93 wasn't like that, but as the first CCG, by the time it really got going, let's say 95, 96, it was put it on the shelf and sell it. I just lost my train of thought with what you said. I'm sorry. So can you kind of repeat back what you had just said before that, because I kind of got lost on comment in the chat. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I know, like there's times where Pokemon even struggled, right? There was times where Magic struggled. They all have their downside, but eventually, as players stick with it, if stores stick with it, it will come back if you don't go bankrupt. I mean, Rudy's talked about it a lot.
Agreed.
And there's like you've probably seen Rudy's bathroom with all the Pokemon in it. So you have you have all of those things, and that's what I mean. It's you love it, you want to stick with your community because let's just even go one further. Do do a lot of card shops even profitable? Like let's just take one step further back. Like we could say Wise, we could say Magic, Pokemon, but like normally they're not. You're not like becoming a millionaire off of LGS, are you?
Oh, certainly not.
Yeah, and they do it because they love it, or maybe it's just because
Right.
yeah. I think that's where I
Unfortunately,
stand on it. Like
unfortunately, our LGSs generally aren't anime stores. One of my goals as a tournament organizer is to get Weiss at an anime store. I would love to get figures and stuff like that out for prize support. And I think that would be like the best thing in the world for growing the community. I'm not trying to pull TCG players away from other TCGs. I'm pulling anime fans in, and
yeah,
those are the crazies that buy boxes just so they have pictures of their waifu. and and probably I would think maybe just a guess because they're not so familiar with TCGs and the whole TCG market and everything, they'd be more likely to buy at least their initial purchases from the game store and kind of help them out with that. So each new player is actually very profitable for the game store, if I'm making any sense.
yeah. No, you make sense. Yep, because you get that initial
Also,
hit.
just a quick note at Lunchbox. I think making a Weiss Schwarz Center channel like you do is a little different than handling. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or stretch of the imagination. I'm a huge fan of yours, but I think when it's your livelihood, you got to play by a different set of rules than a YouTube channel that you passionately enjoy. If
Yeah,
that,
and
I hope you're following me on that one. And
and
if you're not, I will happily talk to you about it after the stream, and we can get it sorted out. Because I'm certainly not trying to say don't make YouTube channels,
no,
and I'm
and
certainly not trying to roast you because I just saw that comment.
no, I'll say back because I don't. How does that mean that I'm rooting against Weiss Schwarz? If you look at my video of me making that slime and the quintessential quintuplets, like literally taking the anime and showing where the cards come from. Do you know how many hours that actually takes? Does someone like me that is talking about collecting, investing, does someone like me like that make a video that literally has to, uh, record literally every episode, copy every freaking card, and find every scene that those cards are in? Like, does that mean I'm rooting against Wise? Or maybe the reason I make those videos is because people don't know about Weiss and they look up their anime that they like and they go, holy crap, there is an anime out there that makes these scenes in the cards. Right? That's the whole purpose of those videos. I mean, it doesn't do extremely well, but like if you know how much effort and time I take into putting that, are you really saying that I don't actually like Weiss? Like, cause that's like further from the truth than it could be.
Do you mind if we take a sidebar for a second? I
Yeah.
address Peace Corp's comment because it does fall under the LGS topic that we're having. Um, as far as your friend in Wisconsin, I'll make sure I'm reading this right. Honestly, being a TO isn't like a thing you learn to do. It's kind of just something you step up and you just do it. The days of like when I first started in the 90s, I had to go through a training course with the Cypher Games, and they taught you stuff. Those days are kind of over. Most of the TO positions generally taken by shop owners or store employees who are being paid by the by the store to do it. Um, but if it's not under that, it's usually handled by somebody who just really wants to step up and make the game happen. I became a TO because I got tired of nobody doing any of the games I wanted to play. I wanted to play the Star Trek TCG. I wanted to play Pokemon. I wanted to play the Sailor Moon TCG. I wanted to play Weiss Schwarz. And if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to go do it. So pretty much you do the things that you think you should do. one of the big things I really push when people ask me directly how to get a game start, how to get Weiss started in a store, I really try to push demos. Talk to the shop owner, get them on board, and just show up week after week after week after week with demo decks to try to get people interested in your game. Sometimes I'll do a little display with some figures and stuff to catch people's attention, but just grinding out, going to the store, trying to get players interested in the game, teaching them the game, and then telling the shop owner, hey, we got 4 people, let's run a tournament. And running the tournament, just letting it snowball from there and handling your business. That's my short answer. Your friend is very welcome to message me on Facebook. I can go into more detail there. I just don't think a deep dive into how to be a TO for Weiss is good for our discussion tonight, but we'll go ahead and leave it at that. But feel free to look me up at Facebook. I use my same name, and currently right now it's the same little, well, a different picture of her, but it's Kiki Tang's my avatar.
Yeah, you used this picture on all the fun ones, so I figured since this is going to be a fun discussion, we use this one. There we are. Okay.
Ooh, thank you, No Box. Thank you. I love praise.
Right.
And thank you to the 30 people watching us tonight. And like 25 likes. Thank you guys so much. Again, I love praise, so thank you. And Big B, I'm sure, loves praise too, so we really appreciate the love and support.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry. I've totally derailed this again.
No, and that's fine. We knew we were going to go in different directions. I was actually going to ask you that a Sailor Moon TCG, since my sister likes it. Must have been a long time ago.
It was made in 2001.
Holy crap. Okay, never mind.
By Dart Flip Cards. They were the makers of the Sailor Moon RPG. And during the Pokemon craze in the late 90s, early 2000s, they decided to throw out a game that was built on their RPG system. And rock, paper, scissors. A lot of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll look that up. I know she loves Sailor. She was like, if there's one set that could come out to Hawaii, she would love Sailor Moon, just because they had like their anniversary lately. She was like, okay, I want to get it. Hopefully they do it. Anything else?
Cards are actually really pretty.
I'll see. Hopefully pretty doesn't mean expensive. I don't know if you heard me say.
Because
to
be honest,
sometimes
limited print run, so it could be pricey. I haven't looked it up in years.
No, I need to look it up. That'd be a nice Christmas present. So, gotta get it before it disappears. Anything? So again, let me just say again, I'm not rooting against Weiss Schwarz, especially when it comes to LGS. Like I gave him my thoughts on how you survive this. Like it's one of those ones where it's just a reality check, right? Like Audri, I mean, do you think anything I said was wrong about like what a store, an actual store needs to do to survive like what's happening right now? Like other than just straight up quitting.
I don't think you're wrong at all, but I will admit I think we are both being pretty depressive. But I also think that's correct for the current state of things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a realist. It's more like so just so you know, my parents actually had a business when we were growing up. Like we were poor, and I'm gonna tell you like straight up poor. Like we worked all the time. Every day when I would get off from school, I would work. We would work weekends, we worked holidays. It didn't matter. We would work, and the business ultimately failed. So me telling stores my thoughts on what they actually have to do is coming from a side of, let's not just pretend that everything is just, what is it, sunshine and rainbows here. This is what you're going to have to do if you want to survive. And that's what I mean. I saw my parents like lose their business and all this. It's just one of those ones where sometimes you need to have a tough conversation, and that was it. Like, how can I make it any better? Like, oh, by the way, just keep buying this stuff and eventually it'll work out. No, you got to put in this hard work. And again, that hard work is maybe too much effort. I think it's too much effort. But if you love the game that much, if you love your community, and not to say that those people that drop Weiss doesn't love their community, but that's what it's going to take. Like, it's almost like me in a consulting kind of role, because that's kind of what I do for work. Like, people give me a problem and I solve it. That's what I do. No matter if they want to hear the actual solution or not, you're gonna get the truth out of me, and that's what it is. I don't see any other way around it other than straight up dropping it or doing all those things. And
There is a third option,
all right,
and I'm going to take everything we've said and spin it into a positive, or I'm going to try to. I'm
yeah.
going to try to give everybody happy thoughts. And let me make sure I got his screen name right. Peace Corp Dennis posted how to fix this problem inadvertently. I don't know if he knew he did or she. Well, Dennis is probably a he, but he fixed it. The players can step up and make this happen.
Oh yeah, well,
Like the players can go into their LGS and go, "Hey, I want to play Weiss Schwarz. I'm gonna step up. I'm gonna run the event. I'm gonna teach the players how to play. I have a half a clue about the game, so I'm gonna help you on ordering, so you don't order too much and get stuck on it. And we're gonna make this freaking happen." Right now, I doubt he's in the chat, but I have a player who is fixing a massive inadequacy I have for my Indianapolis store because I live an hour and a half away. He has gone in, he grabbed me practically by the shirt and said, "We're doing this," and made me get a hold of the shop owner to make sure that we had an English format tournament in the store for the players of Indianapolis. And he had his first event. Nobody messaged me saying it went bad, so I'm assuming it went good. You know, if one of the Burn One players went, maybe they can tell us it went well. And that player stepped up and made it happen. Peace Corps Dennis's friend, you know, he's trying to get it done in Wisconsin. If the players take the responsibility off of the shop owners, we can get Weiss into every store in America with minimal hurt on the shop owners.
right.
I knew a gal. She's a TO at a different store. Yeah, I think she currently still is one. And she went as far as to sorting the store's play sets after she got off work to make sure that the store turned a profit for Weiss Schwarz. Little further and beyond than I think I'm even willing to go, but that's what she did to get the job done. And that store did phenomenal with Weiss. They had an online they were a very well-known online store. They were probably long gone before most of the folks here. And they have an amazing, their player base was awesome. I thought I was doing good with player numbers till I started seeing what they were pulling in. It's like, holy crap. Good for you guys.
No,
and no, I don't know if she's probably babysitting, so I don't know if she'd be on the stream tonight. But that can be done, and I talk to a lot of really cool people in the community that I know that's like if they decided they wanted to do this, heck yeah, they're going to charge in, they can get stuff done, and the shop owners would love it. Oh, yep, one of the players from that store is actually here. Hi, Ultimate Gamer. And I really, really think that that's actually the fix. The fix is for the players not to just rely on the shop owner and the employees to do it. It's up to the players to get together, band together, make stuff happen.
No, I agree with you. It's one of those ones where you do what you can control. So like the store is what they can do, and then players have to, because again, what we said before, right? If players just say, "I'm gonna buy from my LGS," rather than the backpack sellers. Again, I don't know pricing, right? Like I'm not gonna pretend to know like this little store buys this case for this much or this whatever buys it for this much. But if even the players can work out some sort of deal where the store is happy, they make a little bit of money, the players can buy it at not like some crazy price, and then like everybody's happy. But it's one of those ones where if you have to talk to the players, that's a lot more people than the store controlling like their own destiny. So it would be nice if all of them work together, right? Like Weiss Schwarz, Bushy Road, stores and players all combine together to find that solution together. But that's hoping for a lot of things to happen. We can't control Bushy Road at all. we can't control them at all, and then we can't control like a mass amount of players, right? So store for me, that's where they go. But hopefully, if you have a good community, players and all that, that maybe they can work that out.
I did see a comment earlier. I forget who posted it. I'm sorry to the person who posted this. But they mentioned that their store doesn't even carry Weiss. And, at first, admittedly, that really comes off as revolting and horrible sounding. But at the same point, if the players support that store through supplies, like, oh my god, I go through playmat tubes myself, and I can't imagine I'm the only one. Oversleeves. I know a lot of my locals go through oversleeves by the pallet almost to protect their character sleeves. Stuff like that. Actually, those items have a really high profit margin,
Right.
and an entry fee for your tournament. Buying high profit margin items, the store might be willing to go, okay, come on in. I'm making money off having you there. Without the players being stuck in a situation where they're buying a pack for $5 and crying because they had a 60-cent uber powerful super rare card.
Right.
Or RR.
That's what hurt me when I saw that Melodious. I always talk about that card because it's a finisher, $2. Well, I think it's $3 now, but it definitely not priced the way I thought it should have been. But I'm with you there. I mean, when you were talking about sleeves and mats and all that, what do you think about Bushy Road selling it now? Now that they're really going for it?
I'm not thrilled, to be honest. I don't like when I don't want LGS has already have enough competition for Bushy Road products. To be frank.
Yeah. They do.
Now, thankfully, the Bushy Road online stores shipping makes it almost not worth purchasing.
You're never getting it. You're never getting it. You get charged for shipping.
Oh, don't even get me started on that one. That's.
Yeah,
I told
it's
you
gonna
about that
take
in
a
the
while.
comment section.
It's on a.
Even though I'm going to be stupid and go back and buy the new acrylic Rinku they just put up where she's eating donuts.
It's wait, they put something like that up?
Yeah, they did a series of acrylics for like a cafe shop, and Rinku's got 2 donuts and smiling ear to ear.
I gotta check that out. I saw the one with the HoloLive Bang Dream crossover. I didn't look at the D4DJ ones. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of issues with LGS, and definitely the backpack sellers aren't helping. I mean, I've said before, I thought play sets at 300 were too much, and that my numbers support that, but now they're like in the 250s.
Oh, I probably lost that one to you because I was adamant to keep it at 300.
No, I mean it's
that was one where you proved me wrong. I really did not see us dropping, and now I saw an $150 Dow play set the other day.
yeah, it's nuts. Which I forget what my number turned out to be for Dow, what it is with the TD. Did you get
Also, while I'm thinking about it, yeah, that was with the TD.
Okay.
Somebody had made a comment, and we were talking about other things, so I couldn't get to it. And I apologize again. I don't know who this was, but they mentioned, is it a bad thing that Weiss has all of its money on its top end like other games? I mean, it makes it. I will say it makes it really easy for new players to come in, buy decks. We actually did a buy cheap decks clinic at my newest game store, the one closest to me that runs all the English only. Where we helped players get into decks for like $30. I mean, that is pretty nice, but I think the catastrophic damage to the opened booster or the booster packs and stuff like that isn't worth the trade. So in some ways, it's really good for the player because cheap cards. But at the same point, I think the collateral damage and the side effects of having the really cheap cards, I think it's just too much of a trade-off. I would much rather go back to my decks being about 150. Also, that gives them some resale value. If I decide that I hate the deck, or in some cases the deck just hates me, if you play a lot of Weiss, you guys just have that deck, you pull it out, and it CX screws you every time. And I would like to be able to dump that on somebody else and buy new cards.
right, and that's the hard part because I know people are like, yeah, the prices are really low. I don't like seeing the prices this low. It's ugly, and that's what I mean. Like you might as well enjoy it now because it's not gonna last. It definitely won't because the sellers that are actually selling that can't sell or they're not making money on the playsets or can't sell the SPs or foils, they're definitely going to step out of this and it'll go back to where it was, hopefully, with the same amount or more players in the end, is what I'm waiting for.
That's my hope as well. I really hope that Bushy Road takes this windfall and promotes the game more. I live really close to Gen Con, and while I don't go every year, I've never seen anything from Bushy Road at Gen Con, or anything for Weiss Schwarz at Gen Con.
Yeah, and that's
The
really
biggest gaming convention in the world, and nothing.
that's really the answer to Dennis right there about like how is Flesh and Blood um, gaining so much in a short period of time. Well, first off, you have like disenfranchised Magic the Gathering people, but they also do a lot for their LGSs in term of support and all of that. So
Mhm.
it's one of those ones. Yeah, they had the investment type of boon, but they also have players. Like you could see it from the Las Vegas the calling event. Right, there was a ton of people.
Right.
So it's one of those ones where the company invested into it. You had players willing to play it. Weiss Schwarz again, it's even though it's been out here for years, it's not like a ton of people know about it. And you could easily tell, right? Just do a type type into YouTube Flesh and Blood and then type in the YouTube Weiss Schwarz. Take a look at how many people actually make content, how many views those like those videos actually get. It's not a lot. That's why I mean like um, the one of the reasons why again I made this channel was really just to help Weiss Schwarz. It's not to make any sort of money or anything like that. That's why I do those videos of that anime turning into cards. It's not for my own benefit or anything like that because I could be doing something more useful with my 30 hours of life. Like it's more because I want to attract more people because if you see the anime that you like, you may be willing to buy the cards. If you're willing to buy the cards, maybe you become a player, maybe you become a collector, whatever it is. But no matter what, we need more sort of advertising, which this is sorely lacking. And again, like people may not like the type of videos that I do, which is okay. It's not everybody likes all the content, but my whole goal again is to get more people to know about Weiss. That's really it. People come in from different directions. Not everybody wants to come in and know about like climaxes and 3-2 cards or early plays and all that stuff. Bonders, which I imagine we would get with Ruby, but like people don't want to always hear about that. So what you have to do to actually build a card community is to have different channels address different areas, and then from there people will intermingle or buy other things. That's why I don't pretend or I don't try to do everything. Like I don't talk about cards. You know what I do? I tell people to look at Pittsburgh. I tell people to look at uh, Strictly Broken. I even did one where I said, go check out Casually, Stock Swap Games, The Clock Tower, like all these other people. I put it at the end. You know why? Because to build a community, you need everybody together, working together to attract awareness. And just so you know, the reason why Bushy Road probably doesn't draw more people in from the Weiss community to actually talk about Weiss is more because we have a fractured community and it's not big enough. Like it's not where it should be, and they're not going to use people that at most get like uh, under 3,000 subscribers. That's just what it is. I mean, that's just the harsh reality. And again, together, hopefully, we can all come together and bring more people in. That's how it is.
I would hope so. Boss Nick actually made a really good point up on the comment section about how Flesh and Blood got in touch with YouTube personalities and things like that to really push the game.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something that I would really, 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 really like to see Weiss do. Contact Rudy. I mean, as much as most people hate, a lot of people hate him, He's got a big following apparently because he brought up Weiss, and look what happened.
Well, yeah, I any sort of promotion is good promotion. It doesn't matter if it's um, a person you hate. The more eyes you get on it, the more people are attracted to it. Again, my community that had not the YouTube one, but the one that I said about cards, it was also helped that Rudy was talking about in there, and then like, okay, let's take a real serious look at it. And again, they didn't become investors. They bought like one or two boxes because they're like, I like this anime. You know, I'm just gonna keep it, or I'm gonna open it to play with. So it's you have to grow the actual community. You need different kind of content creators, whether you like it or not. That kind of video, because the more exposure you have to it for other kinds of people, the better it gets. The more people know about it.
Yeah, just funny story from old dinosaur here. When English first came out in the U.S., SAO season 1 was airing on Cartoon Network, or roughly around that time. And right before the SAO episode would start, Bushy Road would air a TV commercial with that awful voice. If you watch the Bushy Road official channel that gives you the 30-second little YouTube video about the newest set coming out.
You don't like that voice?
And for 30 seconds, for I think like a minute, they would tell us about the Sword Art Online card game. They wouldn't mention it, they wouldn't call it Weiss Schwarz, they call it Sword Art Online TCG.
Really? Sword Art Online TCG? They don't even say their name? That's sad.
Nope. They never said Weiss Schwarz. It was
Weiss.
always the Sword Art TCG. And I'm not a big fan of Sword Art, and that would just drive me up a tree.
I gotta dig up that commercial. I don't know if anybody recorded it from back then. Check it out. I like the old music too. I don't like this new music that they switched over to. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like the one in the Data Bullet one, the last couple months, they changed it from one from like a year ago. I like that other one. It sounded like more presenty, like more like a set has arrived, where this one is just not so great. Oh, okay. Wow, holy crap. It's been an hour and a half. I'm gonna be dead tired tomorrow.
You know, and you to hit 2 hours, so obviously we're slacking if we're only at an hour and a half.
Well, yeah, normally, but we started later. It's like 11 o'clock my time. I did not sleep well last night. LGS, we're good. We talked about high rarity cards. Ooh, which one do you want to talk about? Slabs or not for sale and not for trade post? Your choice.
We're gonna end on some spice.
Yeah.
Let's go with the not for sale, not for trade post. We'll leave the real good spice for the end.
Okay. You want to start? Feel free.
As far as the not for sale, not for trade post, I'm probably one of the few players in the world that actually like them. Now, but it really depends on where they come from. If they come from the, oh my god, I just got my waifu's bling, woohoo, woohoo, I'm rocking my waifu, I am like sitting there going, oh, you little thing, good for you, yay! You know, and I'm like turning into a little pile of mush of fangirling. If the person's going, look at me, I just got this stupid expensive card, and it's going to be, no, just stop, just go away, we're done, just click, ignore, no, go away, be done.
Yeah, there's a lot of them lately.
You know, I am totally okay with flexes. Now, there was a point on Global, I haven't been on there for a while because of this stuff, where it was getting really bad, where every post was, let me flex this to try to incite someone to buy it.
Yeah, I don't like those at all.
I kind of got that feeling, and then it was like, okay, this isn't fun anymore.
No, it's not. And that's a sort of segue here, or sidebar, whatever. My phone died. And I didn't tell Audri all of this, but my phone died. It didn't totally die. The screen was impossible to see. I figured out that if I crack open my iPhone, like literally separate the screen from the phone itself, like the screen comes back. It's like jaggedy and has lines through it, but I could still see it. So on that phone is Facebook and Discord. and I got my new phone, and I made the whole decision not to put those things onto my phone, my new phone. And the reason why is because when I didn't have Facebook and Discord, my life just got so much better. Like it's one of those ones where, because it kept being where some of these posts would just annoy me with, uh, and I'm not talking strictly of the not for sale, not for trade, because again, if people were just straight up doing it because they were really happy they finally got their card, like if your friend got that Amelia card, right, or finished the Max Rarity deck, I think that'd be super cool to see. But there's some people with like, I would say ulterior motives, and some are apparent, some aren't. But if you see enough of their posts, you could figure it out. And then like with all the other stuff happening in the community, I was like, you know what? I don't want to have this on my phone at all. And what resulted, because the screen is all messed up, is I don't check it as often. I don't, as in, I haven't looked until you showed me the one picture, Audri. And then I went on there and looked and all this other stuff. But my life has been so much better stepping away from the actual community, which is sad. Like when you think about it, because the community, like, good to have laughs, good to have be able to see the different items up for sale or things like that. It's just nice to see like the happenings, the card of the day, translations, and all of that. I think it's really cool, but at the same time, with how much negativity has been going on there, it's better for me not to look at it because I don't want my life to be a drag or to see all that. But anyways, not for sale, not for trade. My stance on it is like yours. It's good if that's what they're really trying to do, but in the end, if they're really just trying to sell, it's like those ones where um, I would say someone has a booster box or trial deck, old one, and they want to get a price and they say they're not selling it, but then a week later, yeah, they go to sell it for like this jacked up price. It kind of is annoying, and I don't know why people keep answering that person because that's all they're really going to do for it. You could obviously tell they're not here for whatever, like to.
Do you mind? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you mind if we take this discussion and kind of broaden it into Facebook itself a little bit, or the Facebook
No,
community
go ahead,
itself?
because I kind of
Okay.
like touched it.
Okay. I mean, I think one of the, we've been kind of discussing the different perspectives of the different people coming into Weiss a little bit. And one thing that I kind of want to point out, and I'm not blaming this on anybody in particular. It's kind of a thing that is just a side effect of what has happened. I think a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the anger is the side effects of a lot of the issues right now in Weiss. The cheaper prices cause the packs not to be able to be open, not worth opening, ticking off shop owners. The not for trade post because somebody wants to get a price on a thing he doesn't want to sell and so he can sell it later. This didn't happen 2 years ago. The Weiss community online, I mean, there were some beefs and some personality clashes between major people. I mean, dating back to when I first started. That's life. That's when people get together. But all of a sudden, within the last 2 years, scams multiply by 1,000%, and bad transactions. A lot of, trying to think of what I want to say here. A lot of I'm only in this to sell stuff post, like that, the not for sale trade. A lot of anger, a lot of really sharp responses, because this wasn't a thing that we ever had. The player base, the old school player base, never had to deal with this. And I mean, for a lot of people who have been involved in Pokemon for years and Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and other games, this stuff is normal.
All right.
For Weiss was always in a bubble. Weiss has always been in its own little thing, and I really want to be careful how I word this because I don't want to offend anybody by accident here, but it almost feels like a cultural invasion. You guys, we had a really nice little garden, and it was really pretty, and we were growing our trees, and we had fruit, and all of a sudden everybody wants to come eat our fruit, and they trample everything we created. And while I don't think posts, with clown faces and stuff like that are a good thing, I mean, that's just adding to the toxicity, but it's a response to this major, major cultural shift. Just like in politics, when things or when religion swings really far into our modern culture and then it swings really far out of it. At one point the religious folks are going to be happy and the non-religious folks are going to be really mad, and then all of a sudden now it's swung the other way in in modern culture. And I really don't want to delve this into politics. I'm sorry, but it's the best example I can think of. But the more conservative, religious-based cultural folks are really aggravated that their world has been turned upside down. And I think that's happening in the Weiss community, and it's just playing, there's a mini culture war going on Facebook right now. And like you said, you don't want to go on there because it's toxic as heck. I live on Facebook, all my communications through Facebook, but at the same point, I've sat and watched posts and wanted to cry or puke. I couldn't figure out which. I was sick to my stomach and just hurting for the community because of what I was seeing. I'm hoping that maybe as these new ideas and these new concepts that that have now entered into our player culture or our Weiss Schwarz culture become more normalized, that things will subside and everything will adjust.
And I think it will. It's just brutal right now.
But right now, that's what we're having, and I think your channel actually has been on from the stories you've told me, has been on the bad end of this as well.
Yeah.
Because change, even for better or worse, change is never liked by anybody.
Nope.
I'm a real stuck in my rut person myself, and they've changed things at my work, and I'm just all in a tizzy over it. So it's something we as a community need to adjust to and work on. But at the same point, I also want to kind of throw out there, this is why these people are lashing out. This is why these people are mad. This is why this is going on. Actually, Peace Corps Dennis just made a great point. Yes, you were spot on. We are a bunch of tweeners. Our hormones are going crazy, and we're mad about it. I love that example. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening, and it's hopefully we get through it sooner than later. I would like to use my.
We're trying not to become a big game now, but puberty's happening.
Because I did used to write on Facebook, in the Facebook groups. And then once I started this, again, just to draw more attention, bring more players in, I realized that I can't have my name out there. Right? Just because you've seen what happened to me, and I'll say it. I got death threats. I got, my guest was threatened. My family was threatened. People said they would dox me. So I had to go back, take down all my videos, rewatch it, delete anything that had my name on it, delete all my Facebook posts. And my Facebook posts had, I bought this from a store that did really awesome, and I just want to say, thank you, and people buy from these people. I never went on there and said anything about oh, let's collect, or just invest or buy out this thing. It's sad that I know what people say about the Weiss community, that it's the most welcoming and all that. I think it's just about the same as any other community, really. It depends on your perspective, what you're coming in from. Because you'll have people all over the place that will do that. Huh?
We used to be the most welcoming community in card gaming.
Yeah.
I will put my hand on the Bible and I will say that. I will put $1,000. I will put that SSP I mentioned earlier up for a bet. I absolutely am 100% sure that 2 years ago we were one of the best communities and most welcoming ever. And I'm not, we definitely were. And I'm really sorry that you've come to us during our puberty years and you've had such a harsh experience. And, you know, that's not excusing it. We were dead wrong. Actually, I want to take a second. If you know TCG, if you're out there, I do apologize to you for getting so triggered in your video. That was my bad. I crossed the line and got on the attack in the comment section. I certainly apologize for that. I was having a puberty moment. Right or wrong, that's what was happening, and I am very sorry about that.
Well, I think you're good. You don't have to. That's what I told you before. You don't gotta apologize for something you didn't do. Like,
I think he deserved that apology.
oh yeah,
And
that
that was
one.
something I was gonna put in. I just didn't tell you about it.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones again where it's like you need this to grow a community. Like let's be real here. Like even though Rudy might have bought $1 million, look what it is going to do. It's advertising that Weiss Schwarz Bushy Road never like hasn't done in a long time. Like with that one video, how many views got? How many people saw Weiss or said, you know what, let me check out this game, and then people aren't just going to dump. So like that's the misconception, right? Like there's not a ton of people out here that are just buying millions of boxes. As in outside of like Rudy or whatever, he's not buying a million boxes. But think of it this way: if you say that Flesh and Blood, MetaZoo, Pokemon are way more profitable than Weiss, why would anybody take their limited budget and be spending, you know, like let's say $3,000 buying up Sword Art Online Alicization 2 boxes or Seven Deadly Sins and all that stuff. Like maybe they got caught up into it, but that's not going to last forever when you have these other options of games, right? Like which would you rather have at this point? Would you want a MetaZoo box or do you want to have a Weiss Schwarz box as an investment standpoint?
um,
You're gonna want the
well,
MetaZoo.
it's very funny you mentioned MetaZoo in that example. I did actually just crack some MetaZoo for the first time
Oh, you
last
did? Did you
night,
get knife
or
off?
the other night, and yeah, I'll take the Weiss box.
Yeah. No, I mean from an investment standpoint, right? Like,
Oh, I'm totally saying from the investment standpoint.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you ever handled a MetaZoo card?
No, they look ugly. Sorry, and that it's. Remember what I said about investing and stuff? Like my thoughts on it. It's like if you invest, you better like the thing. So I only buy Weiss it slash play it because I like it. Because in the end, if something happens, I end up with cards, and I don't want to be stuck with stuff that I don't want. So even though like MetaZoo is like the in thing, makes you money and all that, no, I don't. I had the opportunity to buy a bunch of boxes. I have zero MetaZoo because I don't like it. I don't want to play it. If I get trapped with it, I don't want to have it. Don't want to own it.
Yeah, just gonna back off because I could easily go into a rant about these MetaZoo cards I have sitting beside me. I'm not opening that can tonight. We're talking about the waste community, and we're trying not to be toxic.
Yeah, we're not trying to be toxic. I would love to have Wise any day over any of the other cards that I have. There we go. I
I'm
mean,
just gonna say I accidentally destroyed about 20 cards in my starter deck by trying to open the package.
oh, I saw that. They're like really stuck in there. And then you gotta watch if you use scissors or something to not mess them up.
I scratched up the side of the card trying to get the pull tab open. But let's go ahead and go to the slabs because I think that's another fun, spicy one.
Okay.
We don't want to bore people to death with stories of Audri destroying MetaZoo cards.
No, that's cool. I wish
Um,
you would have recorded that.
um, but as far as slabbing goes, this one kind of goes for the not for sale, not for trade thing, where I think it's where you're coming from. Um, Me personally, I'm totally okay for slabbing if you're doing it for posterity's sake, or if you're doing it for a reasonable transaction. Um, mentioned something in his video, or I think it was in the comment section of my comment, that the slabbing is more of a proof of the grade of the card to ensure a fair transaction. which, after looking at MetaZoo cards, I totally understand why we need that in the world. I don't think Weiss is as big of a deal. Weiss cards are generally, from what I've seen, 9.5.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see, I don't think I've seen an 8 on Facebook. I could be wrong. But I think the real issue is that, again, going back to something we talked about at the very beginning, a Weiss Schwarz SP for a majority of the player community is something you put in your deck, you shuffle it, you play it, you turn it sideways, and you flash your waifu love in a blingy fashion. Slabbing a card takes it away from that. And again, going back to the culture shock, that was a really new concept to a lot of people. I know a guy in Chicago who has a max rarity girls band party deck, max rarity Bang Dream, with the Yukinas and everything. He has played it probably 500 to 1,000 rounds of tournament play.
Jeez.
It's his baby. And, you know, that's more of a normal for Weiss Schwarz. Now, I'm learning myself about this whole new thing where you slab to prove rarity and value and legitimacy, which I knew you needed a legitimacy check in Magic in particular. But where I'm still getting lost at, and I think a majority of the people who were in this chat, I think are with me on this one, the people that have come because I invited them, and I talk to them often, we're having to disconnect, and maybe you could enlighten us on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're having to disconnect on why a slabbed card should be 10 times original rate. That I think that's where everybody's having the what the is this? And the really massive recoil response to it, and the hate, and the nastiness that we've seen from it. I'm going to go ahead and at the second answer Sayaka there, because I think those are both legitimate. To be honest, I have a couple cards I want to get slabbed for preservation purposes. I intend to keep them for life, and I just don't like, in my house environment that has a lot of fish tanks, the card being exposed to the weather where it'll be slabbed and perfectly contained in plastic. As far as your next concept, comment, collectibles absolutely do have value, but I don't understand how 10 times original price on a slab, especially when we're dealing with something that's probably already a 9.5 out of the pack.
Yeah.
And
So
I will also to answer your last comment there that I just saw, that's the Pokemon community. That's how Pokemon community does things. I am not part of the Pokemon community, so I can't speak for that. I can only speak for I was years ago, but not anymore. I can only speak from my experience as a Weiss player and the community that I've seen with that. But if you want to, you know, maybe inform us that maybe, you know, that there is a major reason why the price multiplier is what it is, where that came from, maybe, I think that would do a lot of good for a lot of people that I know, including myself.
I think I mean, if the problem is just the 10 times, then you could basically say that about like all the TCG player prices, which, you know, again, I always put that disclaimer in, I don't believe is the real price, but it's one of those ones where I guess they feel there is a rarity to it, because even though stuff grades 9, 9.5, there are only so many that grade at 10. And going back to, like, let's say the girls band party SSP, if there was only 25 of them and someone plays with theirs, they're not getting a 10, because so you subtract out 4, there's that perceived rarity to it that maybe only in one in existence is it. Is it worth 10 times the amount? Should Yukina be? I'm just making this number out. Don't get pissed.
Oh, of course.
100,000. It like let's say this is the last Yukina in the world that is getting a 10. You're never going to see it again. If they just drop it at 100,000, so multiplied by 10, um, is that the real price? No, maybe they're just throwing it out there to show the world, but maybe that's the number that it'll take for them to actually sell it, right? Like your max rarity deck that you had, if you had to put a price on it, like not the current price on it, but whatever price it's going to take for me to pry that out of your hands, like maybe that's the number that's actually being used. Like to like this multiple might not make any sense. I'm not saying it's realistic, but at the same time, maybe that's the number they're looking for to pry that out of their hands. And it could be awfully wrong, but that's what they're looking for. And I guess since they own it, they just put a price on it. And that's what I mean. For stuff like that, like honestly, I just totally ignore it, right? Like if I'm not into slabs or whatever, I just move on. Like um, the instead of like heckling somebody or whatever, just you just write, like what you said before with the Facebook. You just be like, look, one sold for this amount, and then just move on. I think it's the whole, I guess, almost embarrassing the person that's not very good community-wise. But that's where I land on the whole multiple. I don't know if like a 10 times multiple is correct, like, but at the same time, that's their price that they're willing to sell it at, and we either agree to it or not, and they just move on. They'll just be owners of that one card forever because they can't sell it at that price. I mean, for me personally, again, like if you've seen any of my older videos, I collect coins. Like I'm a coin collector, but I don't slab of any of my coins. But I see why people do it because they want to preserve it. Some people, I don't know if you've seen a lot of coins, Audri, but there is this fancy like label that you can put on it. Like so when a coin first comes out, like I'm going to talk about the American Eagle. They have a coin that comes out, silver American Eagle, gold American Eagle, but you have all these different labels. One has like an American flag on it. Some have just like the artist, the guy who sculpted it, created it, like they have their signature on there. Like it just, some people just like to have, no, like what you said, preserve the actual thing, have a grade on it, but then actually just have the label. Like people actually pay premium for the label, like not the number 10, but they're like, oh, I love that label. And there's only so many people that bought this type of label, so that's what it is. It's like slabs in general can be like an offshoot of a collectible, as weird as it sounds. But I think I saw somebody on Facebook, they had some other grading company, and it had like a fancy label. It was like purple or red or something like that. And again, it's one of those ones that help just the collection out. Maybe they just like that. So I don't know why people slab completely. I have 0 slabs in my personal collection, like for anything. I have coins, cards, all that. I have 0 anything certified because I just like having my card. One day I may get one graded, but it's not going to be today. Well, especially since you don't get your card back in 2 years unless you pay a lot of money.
That's why I haven't done mine yet.
Yeah, it's everybody has, like, again, when we talk about Weiss Schwarz, like the whole topic here, players, collectors, investors, people all come in from different, like perspectives, backgrounds. Like I want to collect, I want to invest, I want to be a player. And you're cool to like just use that SP to play, but there's other people that want to preserve this thing, like because they think it's beautiful. Again, they shove it in like a cabinet or whatever, like not a cabinet, but like that glass case thing. Like they must really love it if you dedicate a portion of your living area to a little shrine in a corner of that. I mean, my wife would kill me if I just set up a thing with because we were limited on space to begin with, so. It's not for everybody, and I get it. And I would just hope that for me, people, if you don't like it, just move on. Because again, like we're just trying to build a community. right? That just respects each other. And again, it sucks. I would like to have this Haruhi. I want what is it? Usual Haruhi, right? Do you remember that card? SP. She got the hair tie in her mouth. I think I saw it at $500 or something. I would love that card because it would work fine with my hair tie scrunchie collection. But I'm not paying $500. You gotta be out of your mind. So just
I never thought I'd live to see the day where Haruhi cards going for 500.
heck yeah, I know. I was like, dang, I wanted to have that. Yeah, no, shrines to waifus are common, but wife agreeing to dedicate a portion of that is not as common, I think. Sherry yells at me for having cards on the dining room table. I don't know if that's what you call what's behind me, but I have cards littered all over that table. Uh, I don't know. I think it's not for everybody. I think it's just we all have to grow in tolerance in the different aspects. Like we all eat certain things. If like the whole clown thing is like part of the Weiss community, then I'll grow to accept it. Or maybe I'll just never go back on Facebook and look. But that's
A lot of
it.
people would say you're better off not going back to Facebook.
But then you miss all this. You miss like the card of the day or like fun discussions or the tournament. Not to throw out like a sponsor thing, but I thought I saw like there's a Gold Star tournament in Indiana, right? So like you miss all that cool, and that's what I want to see. I want to see people like actually going out there and doing positive things. I don't have to look at all the there's a lot of negative, but there's a lot of positive, right? Because again, remember what I said. I was on Facebook before doing all this, and I actually wrote about my positive experiences with stores and purchasing and stuff. Like I did that. So it's sad to me too about what actually happened to this community. It's freaking sad. I will tell you, I had a whole lot of respect for like everybody in the community before I started doing these videos. And then when, it came down hard on me, obviously it took away from all of that. Like it makes me not want to be in Weiss. I want to just tell everybody like to stay away from Weiss. But you know what? I still do it because I believe this community is going to be pretty awesome, and the game itself, the collecting side too, is just amazing. You don't get that with other card games. So I will trudge on through. Like you could even see what happened before we even started this video, right? It's you have a lot of people that don't want to hear what me or you have to say together. And this was a pretty fun experience hearing your side, seeing the community side. It's nice, and I really do hope that Weiss keeps growing, and I will do my part as much as I can. So hopefully people don't see it as a negative, but I can't wait to do the Ruby anime that turns into cards. I know people hate that the art style of all that and the signatures and whatever, but I mean, I love Ruby, and I'm not gonna find those cards elsewhere. So hopefully,
I'm kind of hoping Ruby's another one of those sets that kind of get people's attention. Like,
oh yeah, it definitely will.
My new locals in Danville, Illinois, Seven Deadly Sins built that community. I don't ever want to watch the anime. I hate playing against Melodious, but thank you, Seven Deadly Sins.
You didn't like it? I didn't get to see the new season. Yeah,
I've never watched it, to be honest. The anime style isn't my thing, and if you know me in person, I am not a shonen fan.
Well, yeah, I mean, the type matters too. So, and that's what I mean. It's like a big draw because you have Tokyo Revengers. That wasn't for everybody, but it was a good anime. Yeah, Ruby's good. I love Ruby. I know that art takes a bit to get used to, or you just ignore it. Do you ever have, just segue here, but do you ever see anime reviews where, like on my anime list, because I use that a lot, they're like plot 8, overall pace was good and all that, and they're like art style 4 or 5, and I watch it and I'm like, man, I thought that was all right. But I'm one of those ones that is, I guess, pretty content with anything. So
am I.
So
I put up with the CG in Love Live. I mean, you put up with that, and you still love that show as fanatically as I do. You have pretty low taste and expectation.
Yeah, I watched, just so you know, I did a thing and I still do it to this day where if you have Amazon Prime or Netflix, you know how they recommend shows to you or movies? I
Mhm.
literally watch all those recommended. And like when I turn it on, like the one got like a 14%. It was called oh, that was on Hulu. It was called Airplanes versus Volcano. It got 14% and I love that movie. It was amazing. Not because not because it was like an amazing like blockbuster movie, but I like seeing what the movie maker actually what his vision of it because he wouldn't have put that crap out or that movie out if he didn't think there was something amazing in it. If you have time, just check that out. It's if you imagine what an airplane versus a volcano actually is, you literally got it. It has everything you could imagine that could go wrong on an airplane actually happen. But getting back to it, like again, Ruby, it's not for everybody. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. And it was short enough that I could leave it on during work. And maybe I wasn't focused on the art style all that much, but in general, it was fine for me. It'll get a lot of people in. It'll definitely get a lot of people in. So hopefully, like by making that card anime video all together, like people see it and realize that Ruby's out there.
Oh, I think that could happen. Um, Rooster Teeth, I hope also gets behind it, kind of pushes it
Oh yeah,
to kind
hopefully.
of, hey, you guys like this? Go buy this.
Yeah.
Like the Hololive girls did for Hololive.
Oh yeah, that's what I was like. They don't need advertising for Hololive because I knew like all of them before they started all talking about it. I'm like, they're just going to talk about it because it's their own cards. They're gonna tell people
Hmm.
to check out my cool card. So I don't know how Rooster Teeth will do it, but I'm excited. It'll bring a lot of people in. I'm just afraid people are gonna go nuts and buy it, and it'll be seven deadly sins. So hopefully people do not do that. You know, again, like trial decks too. Let's hopefully hope that the trial deck is actually useful, because I imagine with two SPs inside of the trial deck, people are gonna go nuts and buy it. So hopefully it's actually somewhat useful.
Burn one. I see you in the chat. Don't most trial decks? I have pretty much one or two cards that are useful. Am I wrong on that? Have there been a lot of dead ones, or is it? Because I know with the sets I buy, generally I use one or two. I wasn't sure about the rest of them now.
I mean, they look fun. I mean, my thought on that was like uh, the Ruby cards that they showed so far are exactly what I hope for. You know, that they work together. It's kind of like a teamwork one. That's why I like the GGO trial deck.
Okay.
I thought that was really cool because it's more like I don't want to just have a card, throw it down, and you have some just random support. Not random support, but this one almost has like I feel like they're gonna go in that direction of having like a Team Ruby kind of. You need to have certain cards to work with each other, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Like, yeah, not just
I
like
haven't looked.
here's
Honestly, I haven't
Melodious and
looked at the
here's a
spoilers for Ruby. My significant others buying it, so I'll just see the cards when he gets it.
yeah.
I've been really lazy, but at the same point, all my spoiler watching has been for Zombieland Saga because I've had that pre-ordered for a lot longer than you said I should.
You had you. I know the joke is you included one extra word too many when you said that set. Has there been any zombie pictures yet?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, it's just Land Saga. I honestly was wondering if that's where they were gonna go with it. Like when I heard the set, like I was like, are they really gonna put like them as zombies on cards?
I'm
And
sure it's I'm sure it's gonna happen.
but what percent do you think it's gonna be? Like 10%,
I mean, they're not.
25?
They have their makeup on in the show most of the show.
Yeah, but you think they'd
So,
have some, yeah. But there was like the one where they're at like the hot springs.
mhm.
Yeah, see, so there's some that they could reasonably put in there.
If they do, spoiler alert, if they do stuff that's from the later portion of the R season that they're or Revenge that they're basing this on, if they do stuff from the latter part of that when everything kind of hits the fan, that's probably going to have a lot of zombie pictures.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they do. I mean, that's in the name. I think you would want to see both. Maybe there's like a, I don't know how to word this, like a transformation. You can't have a flip card. I was thinking like how, like I'm thinking in terms of Magic where you have flip cards like or two-sided, but
Really not, since all it is their producer doing their makeup.
yeah.
Oh, Ultimate Gamer said there has been some zombie cards, so maybe I'm not thinking of them, which is very possible. So, and I know Ultimate Gamer in real life. He's really a cool dude and keeps up with stuff.
Okay, so
So if
there's
he's
been
saying
some.
that they are, they are.
All right. I have not been watching it close enough. SAO 10th, what do you think?
As
Is it
far
coming?
as
Is it coming?
my I'm not a big I'm not real big in the SAO universe or how any of that works. I watched season 1 and Gun Gale.
Mm-hmm.
And Mother's Rosario because Yuki was cool.
Oh, I love Yuki.
But I'm definitely not an SAO fan. Oh yeah, Ultimate Gamer, you're right. I just saw that. You are absolutely right. I blanked out on that card existing. But as far as SAO 10th, if I remember correctly, a lot of the manga has those covers, as that artwork on their covers. So there's a really, really, really good chance that there's some major issues with the artwork and licensing on that won't let it come over. I'm not. Man, I wish I had a couple. There's a friend of mine that I would love to ask this and just let him answer it for me because he's smart on this stuff. But I almost want to say no because it hasn't happened yet. But it's SAO, so I don't want to say no because everything SAO comes over to English.
It's
So I'm going to just put that one up as an I don't know.
yeah.
And I'm going to leave that up to people smarter than me to answer that one.
I said it's too early. Like we won't know for at least 6 months, just because.
No,
Well,
it. Go on. I'm sorry.
the way I see like how they put sets out, right? Because do we all think that Quince 2 is coming? Like, is it like a foregone conclusion, or we knew that Camelot was coming. I feel like they don't announce. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't go back and look, but they don't announce the same anime before the other one is released. So since we just got Alicization 2, you wouldn't announce 10th until you knew how Alicization 2 actually did. Like we didn't get Quince, even though Quince 2 came out in JP. Like they didn't announce it on this past one just because it hasn't come out for English yet, and they're still trying to see how it fares, I guess. I mean, SAO 10 to me makes a whole lot of sense to bring over, but I feel like they space it out to make sure that the previous or currently about to be released set actually does well. So that's what I mean by like 6 months, because now we know that they're gonna do that stuff quarterly. So
They definitely do that, but I thought, and again, somebody in chat can correct me. I thought SAO 10th came out before Alicization 2.
yeah,
And if that was the case, why would it be jumped over if there wasn't licensing issues and things like that? Also, I've noticed a trend skewing in English, and again, I could be wrong. I'm sure somebody in chat might have the facts and more information than I've got just off the top of my head. But it seems like Bushiroad has been doing their English announcements based on a lot newer stuff and not going back and doing older stuff nearly as much. So there almost seems to be a window for a set to be able to be released before it comes over to English. Like, for example, I would love to see more Love Live Sunshine, but I've kind of given it up because it's just been so long. And same with Review Starlight, the Relive set. I think they really, to try to push the competitive side of Weiss, they need to keep up with the newer currenter sets that are a little more power crept, to keep up with a no banless Dow, a no banless Sunshine, a no, et cetera, et cetera. Flying, for example.
but doesn't SAO 10th actually
I don't
help
know
out?
how much they would want to go back and release something, but maybe my timing on when SAO 10th came out is wrong. Somebody in the chat, I'll happily take a correction on that, if I am wrong on that. But it just seemed it would, if I'm remembering correctly, and Alicization came out after Alicization 2 came out after 10th, then it would be really odd, I think, to go back and do SAO 10th.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought someone before said it had something to do with the art,
Right,
and
that's what I had
yeah,
initially said and what I think,
yeah.
but there could be other factors involved as well.
So I think that's what it is. But we know that for the most part, SAO sells, and I would imagine how people badly wanted SAO 10 that they bought the JP version, like more recently with the reprint, because I keep seeing people like opening or wanting or asking for it, that it would be popular enough that it would do well here. Like if people were buying Nazarick, if you were buying if people want a reprint of Nazarick, I can't imagine where SAO 10 is not going to do well. And yeah, I see people saying
True.
15, so SAO 15. Here we come.
I mean, SAO. I remember the day the Japanese trial decks came out, and I walked into a local event. I mean, we're going way back when in the time machine here, and I think there was like 12 players, and only 3 of us didn't have SAO TDs for that tournament.
Yeesh.
So going back to that commercial story I told you about, for a while, yeah, we played the SAO TCG.
You're playing the SAO TCG all day. Oh man,
All day, every day.
all day, every day. It's yeah, I think one day we'll get something. But again, like, do you really want SAO? I mean, maybe you do. SAO 10th without signatures. We got Alicization too. People are okay with that. I would just want the signature. I'd be sad to know that they had it, and um, I'm not like the huge. I like SAO, but because it's so many sets in, I don't really care about it as much. Right? It's like the same thing with Bang Dream. You know, I love Bang Dream, but when it came to decision time on buying, I bought a couple of Rosalia Pop and Party, and the rest of the money, the majority of the money went into the Morphonica TD and the extra booster, just because it's like I want to play it and I don't need to have like all the cards from the past, right? Because this is trial deck plus the extra booster. I know
I'm
it,
I'm I'm rebuying into Bandori the same way for to rebuy into Morphonica because of the for OU, the Seiyu for Rinku.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I had a massive Japanese Band Dream collection that I sold off just to kind of get out of it and refresh my collection a bit. But then they put OU in a set, and it's an English set, and I've already said I need English decks. So
Yeah.
yep, pre-order already sitting out there for it.
Yeah, you got the play set. That's what I mean. It's just when an anime like that, like Bang Dream or Sword Art Online, I don't want to have to deal with all the different traits, right? You can play with some of them together, but I don't want to have to go through that. Can you imagine how complex that is for a new player to like try to
That's
figure?
it.
Yeah,
SAO has nothing on the Haruhi set when it comes to traits being a mess.
really, it's that bad? And I barely know
Uh
anything
huh.
about Haruhi just because it's been so long. I just want that one card, but
I'm sure B. Shifley is going to make a comment here because he owns a lot of Haruhi and has tried to build it and play with it. It's a nightmare because of the traits. Each girl has a different trait,
oh.
but each girl doesn't have enough to build a waifu deck to make it worth it.
That sucks. Even with the what Meister set or whatever else.
The Meister set was just booster packs of an already released set.
Oh, what they have an extra booster?
Uh,
I thought someone there was like a power up set that never came.
B.F. Shifley, if you're out there, can you help me on this one a little bit? What sets did Haruhi get? It did get 2 power ups. It did get a power up set in Japan, but
Yeah, it
we've
never came.
never seen a power up set in the U.S. And it also was in a Bunko set that came out in Japan that I don't think we'll ever see.
Yeah, sneaker bunko. I wanted that. I was like,
Yeah.
shoot, because again, I
Well,
love angel
we'll
beads.
never get Sneaker Bunko because of the that happened when Two Love Rue came over. Stores that were family based went nuts over the artwork on it, and
Yeah,
Reed at Bushy Road USA really hard,
I want
and like
sneakers
boycotted
so
the set and
bad.
stuff.
I love those animes in there. And I wasn't around for all that. So again, that's one of those ones I say where I missed out, and I'm not going back to buy it because obviously it's crazy expensive. And it just I would love those to be available so that I can get it. But again, I just say, well, I missed it. My bad for not looking at Weiss for whatever amount of. Well, I didn't know about Weiss, or I would have bought it a long, long time ago. Oh, especially Lucky Star.
Actually, I'm
Oh,
playing. I got into Weiss Schwarz because of Haruhi and Maho Shoujo Lyrical Nanoha. BS Shipley wanted to play those sets. I said, let's go.
I
It was
love.
a TCG I could get him interested in. Let's go.
I know that's what I mean. I'm like, no matter who I show it to that likes anime, they're like, oh my god. My niece that I was telling you about, she wouldn't play any card games, but I showed her like Ruby's come out, and she's like, oh my god, Ruby. That was her. That was one of the ones that she told me about to watch was Ruby. Lucky Star was my first anime, like my first real anime outside of like Cartoon Network.
Wow, that's an
Yeah.
interesting start.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
because
how did you get half the jokes?
I went to I went to some anime site and I was like, holy crap, there's a lot of anime, and I just clicked on one randomly and it happened to be Lucky Star. So that was that's what I mean. I really wish I could
Okay.
get some Lucky Star stuff. That
Um, it looks like the chat wanted to go into the Nazarick reprint a little bit.
oh.
Any thoughts?
Nazarick
Any
reprint?
thoughts on your end? I'll share some thoughts on mine after you share yours.
I gave some before, but I'll say it again. I'm like, Nazarick reprint wasn't one of the ones that I would have wanted to see, but Bushy Road decided to print it. I mean, like, right, we know with any of these reprints, like, they have this disclaimer on it that says, we won't reprint this unless we have enough orders. And I don't know if this was stores just being too um, excited about a reprint or seeing, like, comparing that this booster box is like $200 and then they're like, sweet, we can get this and it'll be instant sales. I don't know what's going on with that, but in the end, for me, I thought, people wanted reprints of like older sets. Again, some people didn't join Weiss because uh, they didn't see the set that they love. So for me, I'm mixed, right? Like, I am a collector. I talk about investing. Do From that standpoint, do you really want a reprint to happen, right? Like, if you have um, 1 out of 25 do they have an SSP? I feel like they did.
For
Like, you have
Nazarick?
1 out of 100 SPs in the population. Do you want that to change to 1 out of 200 now? No. I mean, that's awful. If you are a person that owned it, if you are a collector that didn't own any Nazarick and you wanted it, happy days. If you were a player and you wanted it, just for whatever reason, I know that set's not the greatest, but if you wanted to play with this thing and these double rares were really expensive, you'd be really happy again that they're reprinting it. And again, this opens the door for them to say, you know what, we heard you. We have enough demand now. Like, overall, with the Nazarick and Slime 1, that we can do reprints. Isn't that what we wanted? That availability of cards, because, right, you didn't have the higher than double rares. They were all being sucked up by investors, collectors. That this should be happy overall for like the community in general. It's more like, I wouldn't have picked Nazarick. I don't understand Nazarick, like, because again, like, the thought was that they were coming out with a set two. No set two was announced, so I don't know where they pulled Nazarick out of. I know someone said it was on a survey before, but I don't know. Like, I would have
I'm
wanted to see something else.
assuming this is one of those ones where I'm just assuming it's the new players coming in and they missed out on the first one. And maybe they don't care that playing Nazarick is asking to go 0-4 an attorney.
Hmm.
I mean, I think most players would say that they have their decks that are just awful because they love the show.
Yeah, I think
So I'm assuming that maybe there's some new players that love that show and they want the cards.
yeah. I Yeah, I wouldn't have picked Nazarick, but maybe it was cheap enough that they can get it and they're working on a deal. I don't know who Nazarick is through. Like, what other, like, if we look at what company it came from and we look at all the deals that they did recently. Maybe that's why they tacked on Nazarick to it. I don't know. Um,
Could be.
but yeah, Bunny
Hey, but
Girl.
while we're negotiating this new set, hey, we want to do a
Yeah,
reprint of
just shove
Nazarick.
that
Be
on.
cool.
Like maybe there wasn't a volume two. Maybe it was the same company, and they're like, by the way, are you doing anything? Because you would think with Nazarick, I know they're coming out with a new season, but
Hmm.
their IP hasn't been doing much. I think I don't know. I don't look up Nazarick, but it
Only,
hasn't.
I'll be honest. The only thing I've seen of Nazarick is the what is I'm sorry, East Sky Quartet.
Oh, I love that show. I love that freaking show. So good.
That's the only show I haven't seen that's represented on it. But
Uh, well, it took me a while to get through Tanya. Like Tanya was my your Nazarick, I guess.
oh,
Like
you're kidding!
no,
But
no, I
Tanya's
watched it all, but no, it's
Tanya's like a possibly top five all time favorite for me.
I had to do a retry of that one where I'm like, I was like, I watched Isekai Quartet and I'm like, yo, I love this, and then I'm like, who's that? Tanya. I mean, seems pretty funny, so then I put that on. I'm like, oh shoot, this seems like a pretty serious show. I watched
Oh,
it.
that would be so jarring.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, because you have what Konosuba, I mean ReZero,
Uh-huh.
which is, and then you have well Nazarick. No, Nazarick is dark. Holy crap! Never mind. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't in the mood to watch Tanya at the time, but I finished it. I loved it. So, uh,
Okay, as long as you loved it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It took me a second shove through, but I got there. I got there with you. But yeah, no. What do you think, Bunny Girl? I feel like they're not gonna do Bunny Girl. Not because I don't want it. I would love to have Bunny Girl. I love the show. I love the movie. The movie was great. But I've told people before I had to watch the movie ending twice because I was like, what the heck? And even watching the movie ending twice, I kind of got it, and then I had to look it up, and then other people's explanation. I'm like, oh shoot, that that was pretty. But anyways, Bunny Girl, Aniplex. It's been a while, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know if they're gonna just fork over like the signatures. So maybe that's part of it too. Like when you go back, they're like, okay, you can reprint the cards, but by the way, you're not getting the signatures.
It
Maybe
would be
that's
really nice. It would be really nice if they went ahead and just. I don't know how feasible it would be for a Bunny Girl set one, even though, oh my word, Weiss needs it. It was so short printed. I guess wholesalers looked at that title and went, the full title of that set, and just went, we're not touching that, and didn't know about the popularity of the anime. But I really, I mean, not for me personally. I would never, just not my thing again. I like cute girls doing cute things more than anything. But I would really like to see that come to the community for the community.
yeah.
Give them set two. Let them have the waifu decks and all the things that would open up. I think it puts it on the map competitively. Again, if Burn One wants to tell me I'm wrong on that, be my guest because I probably am. Um, but it would give everybody a chance at getting Bunny Girl who just came in and missed the
Me,
opportunity.
me.
Especially with as silly as the signs are in that set.
Yeah, I'll
Just
take the movie.
give them a shot at it where it's not $1,000 a signature, or actually that signature might be higher now. Come to think of it, but give them a shot. Give the fans a shot to get those cards and get them into their collections. Get the decks playable and a little bit up to speed at least, and go from there.
How much do you think the multiplier would be on a slab 10, uh, graded 10 version? What would be the multiplier on that one? Because it's super rare and people want it. Is it
That
higher than
to
Yukina?
be honest, that's one where I almost,
You could
because of
see
the
it?
exclusivity of it, I almost could see that 8 to 10 time multiplier.
There you go.
I mean, I know that goes against a lot of what I said earlier, but that's that one in the Yukina SP or two that I'm going, okay, all right, I kind of get this. Not that I would ever come close to dropping that kind of money, but I could almost see it. I could see a collector going nuts on it.
12 grand.
Oh, yeah, somebody just said PSA 10, 12 grand. People have way more money than I do for cardboard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. 12 grand. I mean, we'll see how much it sells for. I wonder how long it's been on eBay for. Uh,
He's saying was, so I'm assuming by the way that's worded, it's sold.
oh shoot. So it's still sitting there.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. No, I mean eBay again, like TCG player eBay. It's not like let's say accurate on prices, but at least it gives you a ceiling, right? We know then that's where it's at, and if people pay for it, so then it gives you a range. That's how you have to use these.
If you look at sold listings, I think it does. But unfortunately, particularly with a lot of the Japanese signs, and this has been like this forever, a lot of the Japanese signs just get thrown up on eBay with no consciousness of the price on the market,
Mm-hmm.
and they just hope they sell it. I know, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the show Nanaha, but there was a sign for Signal, one of the characters from the show, and I think the real life sign is like $5 or something stupid. It's not a Seiyu sign, it's an artist sign, and I think it's listed for like $80 on eBay. 60 or 80. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head.
Uh-huh.
You know, which obviously is obscene. But, you know, sellers can ask for whatever they want, like you said earlier with the slabbing.
All right. Then you throw it up, and if someone buys it, great. If not, they'll eventually get tired and have to lower it, or they just leave it there forever.
That one's been up for 9 years. I'm pretty sure it's still
9
up.
years.
Yes.
But that's what I mean. The nice part about that is then you know that's not the real price if you know how long
Right.
it's in there, right? Like it's, and that's what I mean. I know people get upset seeing like high prices, but again, it's like just take that as right now that's a ceiling. That doesn't mean it's sold there. It's nice to know that it is there. I mean, I don't want to talk about stocks, but stock world, I don't know if you know anything. Like, there's a way that you could see how much people are buying stocks at and selling. Do you know anything about stocks?
Not enough to know that I don't know about stocks.
Okay, there's a way where you could see like the current bid and the actual what someone's willing to sell at. And every day on any stock that you look at, there is some guy that probably prices it at like a stock that's like $50. They'll price it at $1,000. Like it's some crazy number that no one will ever buy, but they put it out there hoping that someone puts in a order and messes up and maybe potentially get it, like if it's a low volume stock. But that's kind of the idea. Like it's out there, that that's not a price it's going to sell for, and that with that information you can go from there. Because some other people, like how it happens on TCG Player, right? You put it up for 100. Oh, did you see the Frozen Bond? Remember Frozen Bond? Did you see my last video?
I remember.
Frozen
I remember it
Bond.
being in there.
Yeah.
It was like 65 a box now.
No, someone had it at $300.
Oh.
Yeah, someone had it
Well,
at $300. But
maybe I
again,
should have kept my loose box sealed.
yeah, see, so that's it was the last one on there, and I was like, yo, by the way, 300 is not the real price, but it kind of shows you what's happening right now. Like when I show people a price, it's not to say that this is the price. This proves again that there literally is just one guy that's willing to sell it at the moment, right, for $300. But what's going to
Right.
happen then is someone's going to undercut as what happened after my video. So I'm not going to say my video caused this person to put up the box, but then another one appeared at like $90. So, again, we have ceilings, we have limits, and then you have people coming in to drop it. So it's always nice to have more information, as more people add. So we know
Right.
300 is not the price because there's no one insane enough, I hope, to buy Frozen Bond for 300. But, like now we have a new number, 90. Is someone willing to buy it at $90? So,
Actually, I'm going to throw something out there. I hope I'm not opening too big of a can.
huh.
But one thing that has been very nice from a financial side of Weiss, with this new boom of new players, collectors, investors, etc., is it has, in some ways, actually created a more substantial Weiss market, where JKTCG and Strictly Broken aren't it.
Yeah.
And before that, the store I had mentioned from that I had mentioned earlier, that is But just to put another positive spin on things, has been something very positive.
No,
And I will
people.
admit, it was kind of nice logging into a website the other night, last week when I was really mad that I didn't have a new Weiss deck to play in an English tourney, and throw it all in my cart and buy it.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's nice. To me, it was definitely a welcome thing that people are now finally accepting TCG player. I mean, not to say that JKTCG was bad, and I know people had issues with JKTCG, but at the same time, it's like even June even mentioned it. It's like there's no reason why JKTCG needs to exist anymore when there's more acceptance now of TCG player as a price guide. Again, I say that TCG player doesn't have all the accurate prices, and it's nice to have a place that had almost like a standard in numbers, but with the changing in environment with different people coming in and supply and all that stuff, it's just a resource that's more updated because he admitted it himself, like what happens with Strictly Broken and other sites, right? It's not always updated. Like these prices, once they sell out, they're not going to look to update their prices. That's too much effort and work. They don't have like ads on their page that they get paid for people to look at prices on their page, right? They're just selling stuff. So no reason to keep updating or tracking it. That would be insane for how many sets that Weiss has to like actually keep it
Right.
up to date. I mean, what's the deal? So,
I think we're still at a work in progress with TCG Player. I
oh
mean, meme
yeah,
prices are still there, but it definitely has gotten a lot better.
it has.
I still hate getting multiple packages when I buy a deck, but that's one of
Oh
those
yeah,
ones
no,
where
I
you kind
hate
of got to
that.
suck it up.
Well, no, and then like you get really nice packaging from this person, or you got bent ones from that one. It's nice, honestly, to get all your cards you need from one person, and it's not all destroyed. But it's unfortunate.
So far, I haven't had any packaging disasters.
I did. Mine
I've
was
had a
like
few where
crumpled up.
I've had a few where I was amazed at the creativity of the person, but haven't had any haven't had any
No, mine was.
successes yet. Knock on the closest wood close to me.
I felt bad too, but it's like it's not my fault. I didn't package this. You packaged it like very cheaply, and it got messed up. You could see like the folds on the envelope like do not lie. Like the fold on the envelope matches what my card looks like because you didn't want to package it better. I mean, I paid $22 for this card. I'm like, are you really gonna send it to me the way you did? Because that isn't my fault. So, yeah, they didn't believe me that it was messed up, and I'm like, dude, here's the picture. Here's what the envelope looks like. It's all messed up. Like, I didn't bend it. Crap, I wanted the card. Like, and they had another one, and then like offered to swap it. They just refunded my money, so I never even ended up buying it from somebody else because it's one of those ones where time went by and I forgot, and then now I missed out on the card. So
Oops.
it was very upsetting. It was because I was like, yo, I had this card, and you get all excited when you get stuff in the mail, and then I'm like, oh shoot, it's all bent. Oh.
Peace Corps was asking us if we're buying anything Friday on the 15% credit on purchases.
I am.
What you getting?
I can't say. Well,
Oh, okay.
no, because again, remember, it's not because I don't want to tell people. It's because I can't really say my name. Because if I buy like one or two cards, like whoever can know my name and my address and all that, and
Gotcha.
because I got death threats and crap, I can't do it. Which is sad because I want to show people like what I buy. I'm not trying to hide it, but
Right.
if I tell people what it is, then they can figure out who I am. So
Gotcha.
hopefully one day,
Gotcha.
community, we good. Use my name.
I Now for myself, I'm not buying anything. I'm kind of overbought on Weiss a good bit, and I really have to like not buy so much Weiss.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm gonna be passing up on that.
I can't. I honestly can't. I can't wait to see what the end of the year brings us, just because of the tax. The 600 tax that's coming next year.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if like again if backpack sellers or just random sellers is that enough to stop them from actually um, selling stuff because it's a hassle. Do you know about that tax, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because you
It's
have
something I'm actually quite worried about.
yeah, because you have to prove you potentially, if you get audited, have to prove how much you bought that for. So if you don't have receipts from like a year ago, I mean, if you don't do anything crazy, you just write how much you bought it for, and you know, and that's the end of it. Like if you got some crazy numbers, like if you got like 10 grand on there, I'm gonna assume the government might start looking at you.
Right.
So, it's, but I that's what I mean. I definitely won't be selling anything ever because I don't want to deal with that. So,
That actually opens up the question: is that going to be what slows down the resale market for Weiss?
yeah, I mean, who knows? Because how many transactions do you think happen on Facebook? Because again, if you use friends and family, I think you're good. I think they clarified that. Where if you use friends, but again, maybe if you do so many transactions, they start looking at you.
I think that Facebook just announced they're going to be really monitoring the friends and family to try to keep people from doing that and abusing the system.
Yo, I saw
I thought I
that.
remember seeing that.
I saw that. Was that on Weiss? Yeah, someone was talking about the
Hmm.
friends and family thing, and I'm like, oh, I can't look at this anymore. Did you see that? About like should
Yeah.
people have to pay the goods and services? Because I remember in Flesh and Blood, I'm in a community in Flesh and Blood. They will literally delete your post if you say about goods and services at all, like that the buyer has to pay. You just have to say a price. Because you know you're not because they were like saying about like the Facebook group could get closed or whatever because it's a violation of
Right.
PayPal. So that's what I mean. I'm actually surprised that um, the Weiss Facebook community is still doing that, or maybe that's not a thing that people know, or they don't actually close down Facebook groups for saying stuff like that. But I
Right.
know that's what the Flesh and Blood people said. Like they're like, you cannot do this because we don't want our group shut down.
I'm in my other hobby is the aquarium hobby, and we have a lot of things like that with rehoming fish. Even if I just said I have a fish who needs a home, it's outgrown my tank, can you, somebody come take it? It could actually get the group shut down
Really? Why?
because dealing in live animals is against Facebook policy.
Oh. Oh. I
Now,
you tell I don't know.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Do you want to address Alex Hodges' comment in the chat?
My death threats? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just say it real quick. So, um, basically, because of the topics I talk about, when it deals with investing and all that, so again, I don't really care if people dislike my videos. You can always thumb down me, whatever. Some people took it. I had a guest on that was an actual reseller. Like he would buy stuff and resell it. That um, he would buy booster boxes, cards, resell it all. And on the Facebook community, one time, like there was that whole time period where it was definitely like players versus collectors and investors. And because of that, I knew one day after that video that I did, it was like within the same week, I woke up to death threats against me, my family, against my guest, people saying they'll dox me. And, you know, it just didn't stop. I showed Audri, I showed the guest that I had on like these death threats and stuff like that. Or, you know, violence. Let's just say violence, not good death threats. But, you know, it kept coming. So that wasn't just it. So you know, Audrey, I showed you, but that wasn't the end of it. Like I kept getting them. So I took my channel down for 3 weeks. I just disappeared. I went back, looked at every video. I deleted anything that had my name in it. Um, I went to Facebook, deleted all my posts, changed my picture. Uh, and again, it's unfortunate, but that's the nature of it. Like but I came back because again I like Weiss Schwarz. I want to talk about it. I want to grow the community, but that's truthfully what happened. It was just it was not good on what happened. So, but hey, whatever. Like we all move on, right? Like all good stuff.
Well, on another positive note, the downvote ratios dropped by 80%. It looks like. So thanks to everybody.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Thanks to the ones who changed their minds.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's good.
thank you.
And that's what we wanted to do here, right? So that's what I mean. Even with this video before it started, just in case you don't know, Alex, like when we got onto this live, it was before it even started. It was like one like and 12 dislikes, which okay, whatever. That's fine. I mean, we just want to have a discussion, and we know the topics that we are going to talk about were going to piss people off, or they just don't like me or Audri or whoever. Like, it's just that's
I'm
the
sure
nature
either
of
of
what
those
we're
dislikes
talking
were for
about.
me.
Yeah. No, and again, and to be honest, I don't care if people upvote or downvote me. Like, you are free to do whatever you want. I just feel like I don't understand. This is just more from a mentality standpoint for me. It's like if something bothers you, you either comment it or talk through it. Like I made it a thing that I said if you want have anything to talk to me about, like if you're upset, you could either email me or you can come like we can actually do a call. It doesn't even have to be live. Like it doesn't have to be on YouTube. You just literally just we can set up a call and just talk. I mean, I've every email that I've ever gotten, I wrote back to. Like it's just one of those ones where I literally just want to help this community out. So I don't know why you would have a state of negativity just because like like why would you want to just live in that mindset? I just be like, all right, whatever, I move on. And that's where I'm saying like I've been around a lot of negativity in my life, and I just choose to live a positive life, like to be surrounded by happiness or whatever as much as possible. So I don't know why this is for other people. I don't know. I don't get it. Uh,
Did
that's
we? Did we cover? Do you think we covered everything that we had originally listed?
uh yeah, we literally hit everything and then some.
Okay, well, we accomplished that. Um, just for just for the ha-has, do we want to ask if anybody in the chat has questions and take a few questions maybe off things we might have said that we missed comments or something? Up to you. You're the one in charge.
I definitely missed a lot of comments, so I apologize to anybody that wrote because I saw some scroll by and I didn't get to say anything. Oh, by the way, Burn One, I loved your whole commentary on the Bushy Road conference. I didn't write anything there, but I loved it. It was what is it? A interesting, happy chaos, I guess you could say. There was a lot of people and a lot of fun conversation. I love the bro. So, we weren't on live. Like you were on chat, Audrey. You don't like the
Yep.
bro?
Oh man, don't
You,
even get me started
but
on
you
that
get what I
whole
mean
on
by
that
that,
on that
right?
thing.
Like because like my like literally I've been doing my party planning committee in my company for like 6 years. You just run out of things to name stuff. Like you go professional, you're like, here's customer service week, but then it's like, here is just, here's a lunch for you. Like here's just your recognition lunch. And then you go from recognition lunch because you're like, this sucks. It's professional. It's boring. So let's just go with bro. Just go with bro. Let's just fill in whatever words we can for the word bro. Uh, that's what I mean. I feel like that's what they were going for because they seemed like when they said it, they were like, "Yo, bro, it's bro." I mean, not to say that that was the best word ever, but I could see from like a wording naming standpoint, they just ran out of ideas and they were trying to make it fun. Because it sounds weird too. Bushy Road Rumble Online. I would go Bushy Road Online Rumble, like bore, if
Oh, that
anything.
sounds even worse.
What? No. But like
Bore
because
sounds even worse. Yes, our event is bore.
no,
Short
but
for boring.
no, but doesn't it the O and the R switch make more sense? Like Bushy Road Online Rumble versus Bushy Road Rumble Online. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I feel like it's better that way. But if you want to make it sound good, bro.
Sorry to interrupt you. I want to catch Peace Corp Dennis before he goes.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for chatting with us before you go. And as far as the writing Big B twice a day, I think the email chain between us is about 45 emails discussing setting this up. So I totally get where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah. Oh, I said it at the beginning. Like, I literally am not putting Discord or Facebook back on my new phone. It's on my old phone. If that old phone dies, I don't know what happens from there. But it's just, like I'm in the corporate world where I get a freaking email or an a Teams message, and I'm expected to write back to that within like 30 seconds. So the negativity on Facebook plus having like people instant message me kind of like stresses me out. Like like I hear that ding from Discord. I'm like, yo, I don't want to answer that. It's after work. The heck with
I
that.
have no life, so I respond to everything in 30 seconds or less out of boredom.
God, I want to do that. Yeah, see, that's what I mean.
It does look like we got a couple questions. Do you want to take Christopher Poole's one?
Where's that at? Chris,
Um,
do you think Weiss will see more videos from Tucker? Yeah, you're gonna get it because Rudy. I mean, right now he's more focused on Flesh and Blood, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and all that. But every now and then, like it's like 1 to 2 months, he'll get back to Weiss. It's because he still is buying it, so he's gonna mention it. And again, plus side for me or for the community is every time he mentions it, there's definitely more people that look at it. And you could tell not every like it's not like a giant cult because you could see like his Flesh and Blood videos, it doesn't have as many views. Like you can look through all the different videos and when he talks about a certain subject, like a certain game, he doesn't get the same amount of views by like the game. Like it's just how it is. But the more people we can get to talk about Vice, the better for us in general. Like if you love this game, whether it's playing, collecting, investing, the more content that we can get out there, the better. So yeah, he'll definitely hit it up, especially since he's still buying it.
he likes Bunko Babes.
Bunko babes, I love that. That was hilarious. I mean, again, like whatever it takes to get more people in. We may not like it, we may not like what he did to it, but you know what? Like if he didn't do that, would we even be getting a Nazarick reprint? Right? Like would the Nazarick reprint be a thing if he didn't buy all that stuff? Oh, everybody's going to bed.
I definitely say Rudy was the start of a lot of this.
Yeah.
But I could be very wrong though because I understand that from my understanding the Pokemon market was starting to drop too, so maybe it was other people looking
Oh
for
no,
it.
it happened
But
way before Rudy came.
oh, okay.
Yeah, just it happened in January. Rudy came around like what, March? Because like I said, I was tracking it. Like I was tracking the sucker forever. And when I started seeing what happened to the prices in January and February, because people knew. That's what I mean. It wasn't the misconception is people thought like the not everybody, but there was people that thought Rudy caused this thing to go up. That yeah, I mean he drew more attention, but in reality what was going on was in January and February there were people that were in the know that were buying up the stuff way before that happened. Rudy just gave it that extra kick of whatever was left because at that time Attack on Titan booster boxes were still what like $60. It wasn't until after the Rudy thing happened that that's when they started going. Like people were still not touching Attack on Titan in January and February. So that's what I mean. I was literally tracking this. What you see me doing these videos, like with the market update, I was doing like way a year before that. Like I was just watching this stuff, and that's when I knew like this is about to pop off. So, and not in a good way. For me, I wouldn't have wanted Weiss to do what it did, like where people just bought a ton of it to resell to other people. That is not what I wanted to do. I was hoping that it would just be like a healthy but there was definitely people in the community because no one else heard of Weiss before. Like there are people in the community that were buying this stuff, and I don't know if they just don't want to admit it or whatnot, but I saw it because I saw it in Facebook. I mean, maybe people weren't paying attention, but I was. So I was out there just watching it all happen.
I wasn't. I was sitting in my bubble.
Everybody was in their happy little bubble, and that was fine. No, that's why I can 100% say because I have the spreadsheet that tells me that's when it happened. Like I literally can pinpoint the time when this all started happening, and it was way before Rudy.
Okay.
Yep.
If you don't mind, I'm going to take Boss Nick's question first.
Go ahead.
Be the first one on that one. He asked if any cards in the collection that have a really interesting story behind them. If you're still here, Boss Nick, you're involved in the card that I would have to say for that. And I'm actually very grateful for the said card. It is my SSP. Several years ago, some players got together, including Boss Nick, and purchased the Saya Yamabuki wedding gown SSP, and had Ben give it to me at the waifu tourney. It meant a metric ton. I can't even begin to put it in words. I'm kind of stalling and stuttering if you hear me right now. So that would definitely be it. I never thought I'd even see this. I saw this card in person because Kit King has it. I shouldn't be name dropping, I'm sorry. But I actually get to own it. It's sitting right across from me right now. And that is the card I want to get slabbed for posterity so air doesn't get to it. Right now it's in a magnetic case and a perfect fit, but that would probably be my most interesting card acquisition because I still am dumbfounded that people decided to do that for me.
Oh shoot! You said acquisition. that's a investor term.
I am on a investment channel, so I gotta try to sound smart.
Yeah, nice. No, like now that you say it, I know the card I'm gonna get slabbed now. Do you know which one it is?
Nope, because I was just about to ask what your card was.
Yeah, no, it's the one my wife pulled for the Kaguya one. Just because it's like, she's never opened a booster pack box until that moment. Like, she doesn't ever hold cards, she doesn't do it, she pulled it. Which, I'm like, and she pulled the Kaguya, which is, funny because it's something I never thought she would do, and it was about love and all that, and not admitting that you like each other. So I forget how that even happened. It makes sense to me. Like, even though I don't need to slab it, I think it's one of those ones I'll preserve forever because I don't ever intend to sell any sort of SP ever unless I'm like super desperate. So hopefully I never get to that point. But yeah, I'm gonna slab that one, Kaguya. That'll be it.
That was a pretty amazing hit.
Yeah, that was crazy. I can't believe it. Like, I just look over and she was like, "What is this?"
If I wouldn't have known better, I might have accused you of reading that in the comment section on that video.
No, I know, because like you could tell I'm not a professional, so I don't have this all like, I don't have fancy equipment. I use like a lamp. I use a desk lamp to give me lighting. That's what it is. Because again, my whole goal here isn't to be a professional YouTuber. Like, I see myself eventually ending this once I tell people enough, if they get enough knowledge on Weiss. I don't expect my life to be a professional YouTuber because I want to do other things with my life. So, no, I mean, it was amazing. And no, that was 100% real. I think it was just amazing that she pulled it. So.
Beginner's luck to max power.
No, it was definitely, remember, it was the people in the comments. Like, I had that video before about what's the lucky box. Like, pick it so my wife can open it. It was like Rosamoon, I think, Hero, and I forget the third person that picked number 7. So that was her box. And then I got number 4 because it was for 4th anniversary. There was 2 votes for 4, so I went with that. So amazing.
I forget what I picked on that. Probably the wrong ones.
I think you picked like 16 or something. Someone picked 1. Yeah, you picked that.
Let's see. Alex Hodges gave us a question. Do you think it was scummy when Rudy heard about the Overlord reprint and dumped some of his boxes on his patrons at a higher margin? Felt pretty wild to me. Do you want to answer that one?
I can. So it's like an if. because I don't know. I mean, I would assume he heard about it, but at the same time, I don't know 100%. So, yeah, it kind of sucks if he knew about it and did that, like anybody would. Like, but at the same time, even though that there was a Nazarick reprint, like people, if you go on TCG Player, people are still buying this thing for like 175, $200. So even with, like, I haven't looked, I know when I last looked, there was a sale in the 160s, 150, 160s. So even with the Nazarick reprint, people are still selling it. If you go back to look at Data Live, like people were still selling Data Live, even though a reprint was coming a lot sooner. We knew Data Live was coming. People were still buying that thing in the 100s, 150s, right? So it's, I think it's on. I think if he didn't mention it, that he should have said, by the way, there's a reprint. But if he didn't know, then what really can you do? I mean, the timing obviously seems a little iffy, but it's all up to the consumer too to like educate themselves on it. Not to say it's their fault. I'm not giving a pass on that at all. I just think I think if you're willing to buy something at $150, I would hope that you know that you educate yourself in it. And that's why I've been doing those videos that said PSA, like HoloLive, because, right, like you have people buying HoloLive boxes even though there was a reprint at 120s, right? Are those people scummy for selling um, those boxes at 120 when there was a reprint literally coming like a month or two later? Oh, I don't know. I don't like it. So my answer on that is I don't like it, but it is what it is. I don't really know.
I'm not a Rudy patron. I debated on it all the way until the window closed last time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know the exact details of it, but while I think it sounds pretty scummy, I'm just going to say that Rudy's a shark. You don't get $1 million in Weiss Schwarz sealed cases in your garage by not being a shark and playing
Yep.
nice. So I'm going to kind of go, I'm not surprised. Shark did shark things.
Yeah. No. I mean, I could see it. So it's just I don't really know, but yeah. I mean, people sell it all the time because you could say that. Like again, you could say that on Facebook on Hollow Live because remember there was once that reprint got announced, people were still selling those things in the hundreds, like on Facebook. I know people got laughed at, but yeah, people still sell it. They'll try it, and I mean, he has more visibility because of who he is and how many he has, but at the same time, you could say that about anybody that was selling any of the reprints. So, but again, we can basically say it's like, like all these cards, like when we had the slime or any of these cards, when I've seen tons of posts on Facebook where someone's like, I don't know what to price these cards at because it is, um, I bought it at $10, but now the markets went up and it went to 50. So what should I price it at? Like you have tons of people saying that. If the market is $50, then you would think, let's say you price it at 48. But then he's like, I feel like I'm scamming somebody. And it's like, well, then if it makes you feel better, put it up at 10. But they don't do that in the end because it's not really smart to put something up at $10. Even though you feel bad about it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like I don't buy an
um,
Apple share at $50 and then go, you know what, I bought it at 50, I'm good at 51, I'm just gonna sell it even though it's worth 150. Like like, I don't know. It's just how the market
Bosnick,
works.
Bosnick just responded that the first edition print of Hollow Live has a difference. They're going to be getting the OFR PRs, and the second edition box or the second print runs are not.
Yeah, but
So
is it that
X
much of a
justified.
difference in price?
Those OFRs are gorgeous, and Hollow Live fans love gorgeous things.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
But
I don't want to come off as rude, but
no,
Hollow
no.
Live fans definitely spend money on their Hollow Live girls, and I'm
Oh no,
sure
they definitely
that would
do.
factor in OFRs.
But like is that like a $70 difference? I don't know. I
I,
I, I
I,
honestly have no clue. I have no clue.
I would think I wouldn't be surprised if there were OFR box toppers that high, a chance to hit them.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. Then you're looking at the whole expected value kind of thing. Like, is it
Right.
really worth the extra $70 to get that OFR? If the OFRs, I don't know what the prices are. Like, if the OFRs are like just 30 for all of them, which again, I don't think is the case. Um, but then that would be really bad. OFR 60, 70 for each girl? Like, or is it just the more popular ones are 60 to 70?
Let me look up UT real quick and look at the
Yeah,
OFR prices.
yeah. Because I don't know them. I know, right? Like, we
Woohoo!
know.
I'm gonna pretend to be a smart investor person.
I don't pretend to look at the Japanese market all that much. With the Hololive I have, I haven't kept up with that. I'm just busy. Work is killing me.
Let's see. Is Hololive a white set or a black
Shoot, I
set?
didn't log into D4DJ or Bang Dream today.
Maybe it's a Schwarz set.
If they're foil,
Yeah, they're foil.
like all of them, or is it just like a chance, like 1 in 4 or something?
I thought the box topper OFRs were all foil, but again, I could be wrong. I didn't buy into Milky Homes. Or not Milky Homes. Wow, why did I say? I read that on the screen here as I'm scrolling through. I didn't buy Hololive.
Yeah, I didn't, because I'm waiting for the English. I honestly don't know how many of those I'm gonna even buy.
I've told my local stores to avoid it. I'm really afraid of it getting
It'll get
extremely
reprinted.
heavily printed.
It'll get reprinted.
Extremely printed, reprinted, and the people who really want it will have it. And I just don't see it being new player
Yeah,
friendly.
the real shocker to me is if Hololive doesn't get reprinted. That would be more shocking than hearing a reprint. So that's where I stand with that. Hololive, if it doesn't get reprinted, will be shock of the year for me in 2022.
SP.
So Hololive box topper PRs are not foil. The foils are in a PR pack you would get from an event in Japan. So if that's the case, then the booster box at $70 more would be a terrible buy.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the OFRs. They're not that expensive.
How much are they?
The
What's a cocoa at?
non-foils, it looks like the low end. There's one for $2, but most are in the $4, $5, and $6 range. With the foils being expensive.
And you know what? This just proves again that there's just a lot of cards. Like, that it's confusing to all of us. So I don't want to say anybody's right or wrong. Let's just say that they got a crap load of cards in Hololive and it's hard to keep up. There we go. We good with that? All right. Anything else?
Yeah, we have a couple more questions. It looks like.
Okay.
I'll let you go first on this one. Sword Yoshi said, "What is the coolest looking card that you want to own very badly?"
Probably some of those. No, I want that Haruhi. I just love Haruhi. I know, like, when people look at that usual Haruhi, it's not the most exciting thing. It's one of those ones where, again, why I like Weiss so much is it brings back those fond memories of anime, like those moments, and that's why I make those anime that are turned into cards, whatever I call it, just because it lets me, when I make those videos, it lets me relive those fun moments that I actually had with that anime. So Haruhi was just, yeah, because I went from Lucky Star to Haruhi. That was my second anime that I watched, and I'm like, this is amazing, and it's by the same voice actress, right? So it was a good time for me. It was one of those magical times for me in anime when I first started, and that's the one I want. I mean, second one I want is definitely Data Bullet, SP's Data Bullet. So hopefully I can pull them. What do you want, Audrey? Love Live.
I was having you go first so I could narrow it down to one. I think. Ooh. don't know if I have a set one, so I'm just going to kind of throw a couple out there. These are cards I know I'll never touch. The first would be the Rinku Aimoto special partner card from Rebirth for You's D4 DJ set.
Oh, jeez.
It runs for multiple thousands of dollars.
What? What? Multiple thousands.
Yeah, they have these really special partner cards that are like one every 5 cases. Maybe Ultimate Gamer can correct me on this one. He's a Rebirth player. But OU has one for Rinku that's gorgeous and really stupid expensive. The other one would be the Yuki, Setsune Yuki SSP from Love Live Nijigasaki. That's running 800 to 1,000, and it has her in a outfit that I really like, and the card overall is just, all the SSPs from Love Live Nijigasaki are gorgeous.
Nice.
So,
I will watch that anime one day. I will.
That would probably be the two, and I'm going to just assume the Cuckoo Tang from Love Live Superstar that's coming out next month will probably be the third one on the list. I haven't even seen the card yet, but I know it's going to be there.
Right. It should be.
So, maybe she won't hit $1,000, but...
As long as you love it. That's what's beautiful about Weiss, right? Like,
yep.
even Bang Dream. Remember what you were saying about the SSPs? Like, is there a Kasumi person out there? Is there an Akko person out there? There could be. And that's what's great. Like, I mean, Bang Dream, I wasn't around to collect all that stuff. But I would have had I been around. And it's cool that there was so many different ones. I mean, I definitely want a Misaki. Oh, not Michelle form. I want her form. Like Saki.
Oh, I know a lot of people who want a pretty Misaki that's a Misaki, including BS Shipley or BS Signal.
See, that's what I mean. There's something for everybody. Some people like twin tails. Some people like like.
Give Misaki some freaking supplies where she's not in the suit.
Yeah, I don't want her in the suit. That's my problem with Bang Dream, like the actual the app, because every time, like when you pull her, the unawakened form, the untrained form is Misaki, but then when you train her, she's in the Michelle outfit. I'm like, piece of junk. Just give me. I mean, I haven't gotten all of them, but I'm like, yo, I don't want Michelle. Just give me Misaki. Like, I get it. They're playing on the stage, so that she evolves into Michelle, but still, whatever. Like, just give me the dang thing. Yeah, no, I got. You see this? It's Alex. Can you imagine a complete binder of that? Remember when I was trying to do the whole play set across in my binder, since I had the 4-column, I guess, 4-column binders, the 12 sleeve ones. Then you don't have enough space, so then I had to consolidate that down to 2. But I can't imagine what a Hololive binder would look like a complete binder. That'd be freaking nuts and heavy.
With a value worth more than my car.
Do you remember encyclopedias? It'd be like encyclopedias back then, like how big they were and heavy. I mean, I'm old, so I remember that, where people would go door to door and sell encyclopedias. Here we are. Yeah, no, I got lucky and I watched Haruhi. I watched Lucky Star and the Haruhi. So it was a great time in my life. That's what it was.
My first 2 anime, I'm almost embarrassed to say it,
it's all right.
but they were both really small OVAs from the 90s. Again, I'm old. But the first one is called Miyuki-chan in Wonderland. It was a clamp project long before Magic Knight Rayearth. It was like their first attempt at doing an anime. And it's about a girl named Miyuki-chan who accidentally falls into Wonderland, and all of Wonderland is full of women with very high libidos.
Huh.
And I swear it's not a hentai.
Okay. Yeah. I wonder if
it has the most catchy music I have ever heard in my life.
Sounds like a good anime.
So all the girls want to get with Miyuki-chan.
You can't go wrong. I mean, it's...
The other one, the next one I watched right after this because I was at a friend's house, is called Dirty Pair Flash. It was an OVA based on the old Dirty Pair series where they made the girls more like 18, 19. And pretty much it's an episode of them running through a post-apocalyptic city with a data card being chased by cars that change into robots, really inept cops, random dudes that jump out because they want money. And at one point, the girl Yuri or Kay throws a missile back at a helicopter and blows it up. Just really old school, stupid, campy destruction humor.
Was that so? You liked it then? Because I know
Oh, I loved it.
they
I
put it
loved
up
it.
on Crunchyroll this season, and I'm like, should I watch? I'm watching other things, like Aquatope comes first, and then 86. So I'm watching
I
that.
need to. I'm watching 86. I'm watching Aquatope, obviously. It's an anime about fish keeping. Yes,
Oh no,
I'm in.
I love that
Oh, wait,
anime.
and with an idol. That was
Yes.
also she was voiced by the idol, and it was voiced by Rico from Love Live Sunshine.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I've got to watch that, mandatory.
No, it's good. I
um,
love that show. You know
I'm
what?
watching and I think the other one I'm watching is Magia Record. Yeah,
Is it still
that's
going?
the other one.
It stopped
Uh
at
huh.
like episode 8, and I'm like, what's happening here? I think it's
Um,
ended. I'm gonna cut halfway
I'm
through.
not caught up, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, it stops at 8. Like for me, it hasn't put out
Okay.
a episode in like 3 weeks. Oh. But 86, you know what's so sad about 86? It's Aniplex.
Ooh.
I just saw that like in the thing, like when I was watching the recent episode, I'm like, I thought that thing said Aniplex. I'm like, I was like 86. Dang it.
Well, that means it's likely going to Aniplex's new TCG in Japan.
That's what I mean. I'm like, we're not getting 86.
Whew.
Freaking love that
Ouch.
anime. Yeah.
I know my locals would buy a lot of 86 if it came to Weiss.
Oh man, it was so. Did you watch the recent episode?
I haven't even started second season yet.
Oh shoot, it's so good. It's so good. Okay. Oh, you catch
No
up.
spoiling. No spoiling.
No, no, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just like, dang. I rewatched one of the last episode, like one of the parts, like 3 times I think, 'cause it was just good.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I liked it, but who knows? Maybe I might have been bored, but I enjoy it. So, all right. Anybody else? This is it's 12:30 here. I'm
Yep.
gonna.
I think we're out
I
of
think we're
questions.
good.
I
'Cause
think we bored everybody and made their ears bleed enough.
I ran out of
Thank
water.
you
And
so much for everybody who hit the like button and like put up with me for 2 hours and
3.
did totally right hate comments and hopefully I didn't bore you too badly or
No.
make you cringe.
And that was the whole point of this. It was really just what is it? Like us just talking, trying to work through some issues, getting to know each other's perspective and have a little more understanding of it all. So it was thank you for reaching out, Audri, and for all the time that you supported me and all of that. I know there's people in the community that's always supported me, sent me emails, really, really nice stuff. So, there's plenty of people that have done that, so I appreciate it. Again, like my whole goal really is, you know what? Weiss Schwarz is not about just players, right? It's everybody, and to grow this community, no matter how much we like it or hate it, like people like me need to exist. People that talk about cards need to exist, like actually playing the game. There's just that has to happen for this thing to grow. Like that's just what it's going to have to be, right? You have Alex here on TikTok. Like you need that kind of exposure to help grow a game. Like we might not like each other as different content, but that's what it's going to take to do it. So hopefully we all understand and grow together and just enjoy the game for what it is. Whatever reasons you're doing it, playing it, collecting it, investing it. In the end, it's all selling stuff, which keeps Bushy Road alive, and keeps the English side of this alive. So that's what we're here for again. So thanks, Audri, for everything, coming on here, talking 3 hours, and keeping me in line. Oh. See you later.
Also, just to throw it out there,
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook under the same name. If you search for me, at least today, Kiki's my avatar. Kuko, wow. I can't believe I've done that. It's spelled Keke, but it's pronounced Kuko. But Kuku's my avatar, and I'm pretty easy to find. I don't think there's many other Audrys with my name spelling. feel free to PM me and just go, hey, have a question about this, or hey, you were really stupid at this point. Shoot me a message. I don't mind. I have nothing else to do in my life. Um, but thanks everybody who listened. I'm going to go ahead and log out, and have a great night, everybody.
All right, take it easy. Thanks.